I see you, Neytiri. And I see you, Jake. I'm ready for you. Don't try and be gentle. Do me like you do one of your Earth girls. Oh, you bet. Take your hair and stick it in me. Wait, what? I want to feel your ponytail deep inside me.
My ponytail? Wait, can I use my penis instead?
Penis, Jake Sully?
Yeah, my penis. Look, I'll show you.
Jake, is this really the time to get out your soup drinker? We're not even drinking soup right now.
Wait, this is not a penis? So what the fuck do I fuck with?
Oh, Jake, do you know anything about Navi anatomy? Take your hair and stick it in me. Stick it in me and ride me. Ride me, Turak Maktor, like I'm the last Palalac on Pandora. Well, all right. Ow, not there! Don't go sticking it in my second pair of lips I use for playing musical instruments.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rollin' 20s. We are the show that stole french fries right off the Kingpin's plate. Please call Daredevil. I am Jeremy.
Steve. Jesse.
And V.
Remember, you can subscribe to this show and several others in the MSP library, missionstarpodcast.com. You can follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at the Rolling 20s. You can subscribe to us on iTunes and on Stitcher. You can send us any fan mail, suggestions for the show, or hate mail at msbfreight@yahoo.com. At the beginning of the show, you heard music by Machine Supremacy. You can find most of their music for free download at machinesupremacy.com, as well as their latest couple of albums on Amazon.com. You also heard a clip before the show of Hot Navi Sex. You can find that video in our link section on YouTube by Henry Patridge. You know I had to use that sooner or later. That one just makes me laugh.
No, it was so horrible.
I know, that's why it makes me laugh.
Oh, man.
You know, the whole thing about not sticking the secondary pair of lips that I use to play instruments. Oh, my freaking God.
You're a bad person.
I'm not a bad person. I just know what's funny. I could say you're just not a funny person.
I wouldn't disagree, but my statement still stands.
How's the morning?
Rough.
Oh, it's morning.
Why is the morning rough?
I crashed very late last night.
Oh. Into what?
I don't know. It disappeared when I woke up.
Wow, okay, so the police may be looking for Jesse right now. What about you, Steve?
I'm trying to come down with a sinus infection.
Ooh.
Trying?
That's one way to get out of work.
Yeah, no. I'm sore as hell because it didn't get me out of work.
Hmm.
Sucks.
Yeah.
I'm trying to afford that Xbox One. Not going so well since I'm having to pay extra bills because Jimmy's not working.
Oh, what happened? You got fired? Or?
No, he's got
his back out getting out of bed.
They think he has a slip disc, but he has
bed?
to get a MRI in order to
definitively figure out what the hell is wrong with him.
Yeah.
Wow. There's only limited words for slip disc getting out of bed and you weren't even with anybody.
I don't even know that he was getting out of bed. He got out of bed to wake me up to find out what the phone number to call in sick to work was, which pissed me off, but that was more because he woke me up.
Okay, I don't want to go any further through the days of our lives. V, how are you?
I'm alright, I guess. I have nothing exciting to say other than making, Labor Day plans and stuff like that. Boring things.
Working Labor Day.
Oh! No, wait. I did do something of note. I finished Half-Life 1 for the first time ever this week.
Oh. Actually, Half-Life 2 made it into our news in a very different way. I don't have a whole lot to report. Unfortunately, the news cycle is starting to get kind of heavy on minor Destiny articles. A lot of which I'm skipping just because they're extraneous and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like the blogosphere, at least, is lighting up with appreciation of this game. which sounds like fun, except a lot of the stories are just like, here's why it'll be better on Xbox One. Here's why it'll be better on PS4. Here's why I don't give a shit. Stuff like that.
I choose C.
So, I'm very interested in the game. I had fun, and you were sitting there giggling as I was playing it, so you can shut up. The news this morning was actually kind of interrupted by the news of a 6.1 earthquake happening out in the Napa Valley.
Yeah, I just saw that article.
And there's been apparently 40 aftershocks since last night, the way it reads. So it has been busy, and Napa has not had anything centered underneath it before. Well, technically it's in something called the American Valley. I'm not very familiar with what this is, but it's very close to Napa, which means San Jose probably got some attention last night.
Yeah, as did Petaluma.
Yeah. Actually, I should check in with a friend of ours later, because there is... you guys remember Karina. She lives out there. Forget where precisely, but I know she lives out in that area, so I should check on her later. That just occurred to me.
Actually, I'm not sure. I saw a documentary about a vineyard that's, I think, in Napa Valley. I'm not absolutely sure, but it's been there, and it's directly over a fault line because the building is actually slowly being pulled apart.
Well, to be sure, there's not a vineyard out in Napa Valley. There's a bunch of them, right?
Well, no, this one, yeah. Well, this one's a specific, but it is literally being, cut in half.
Well, now instead of grape wine, I guess you could say it's all grape soda now. The subject of this week is the 2008 volume of Guardians of the Galaxy, arguably the one that made him famous. We'll check in on that later. We have our usual Kickstarter corner. The first one is one we've had probably the longest, and that is Jibo, the world's first family robot. This one is being done through Indiegogo for the world's first personal assistant robot. It's a small device that has 3 swiveling motors, so this thing can spin around, look at you, follow your face, take a picture of you if you smile. It can recognize multiple faces and give personalized responses per person. Well, this one has 22 days left. It ends on September 14th, 2014, has 4,238 backers. The goal to get the initial run of this thing out is $1 million. Currently stands at $1,800,000 or $803,902. It doesn't appear to be much to stop this thing, really, unless there's some kind of bizarre lawsuit about, hey, I designed that first.
As long as they're not Nintendo, they should be fine.
That hurts, man.
I'm not sure what's the reference.
Nintendo's being sued left and right by third-party people. For
that's right.
They were successfully sued about a year ago. I remember that.
I heard
somebody actually got
fourth
money
or eighth one, recently.
Well, if you back them at $500 currently, you can actually get a Jibo. And I admit, I am curious to get one of these things. However, like a lot of new technologies, I'd rather see one first.
Yeah,
some of the backer rewards are...
Spending $500 on something, you better know it's going to work.
Yeah. Some of the backer rewards are kind of bizarre. At $150, you can attend Jibo Hackathon East or West. It says you will participate in an immersive hackathon session at Jibo East in Boston, or participate in a hackathon session at Jibo West in Silicon Valley. I assume that means they're going to try and figure out ways to hack into it to prevent people from doing so.
No, it's I was looking at it because the same people I went through to get my tickets for GamerCon was doing a hackathon event. It's a programming session, usually for universities. If you're part of a university, you get in for free. Other people have to pay money. You're allowed to bring one machine or something. I can't remember all the rules, but basically it's a non-profit group programming session.
Bizarre because
yeah.
Well, for that $150, you get nothing but attendance. You still have to pay for your lodging and travel. They have reached a couple at least one stretch goal though, because they've unlocked Black Jibo. You're going to get it in black now.
Cool.
And expression packs, was at $1 million. $1.25 million was a Jibo referral program. Refer 3 people who pre-order Jibos, and you'll get a refund of $150 with an additional $50 for every successful referral, up to the price of your original Jibo pre-order. Wow. So you could get one free if you could get 10 people to order one. I'm not that ambitious.
Neither am I.
Me neither.
We also have the coolest cooler, 21st century cooler that's actually a cooler by Ryan Prepper of Portland, Oregon. This is the one we've been impressed with, but also kind of
Dumbfounded.
Disappointed with. For a modern cooler that has wheels, a USB charger, LED lights, a Bluetooth speaker, and a blender motor. Well, this one has 5 days to go. It ends on Friday, August 29th. It has 47,385 backers. The goal to get this started is $50,000. Currently has $9,362,857. If this guy doesn't just buy a factory and start making these things en masse, he's going to be a major disappointment to me. The biggest backer rewards are $2,000 each, and there was only 8 of them. All of them are gone. Where this Ryan Grepper will personally fly out to your hometown and man your bar at your next event.
Nice.
And he'll come with one of these coolest coolers to show off to the crowd. So he's actually getting some marketing out of this if you do it. It actually comes with a bottle opener too. That's probably the most important thing I could think of if you're going to have a cooler of this nature.
Mm-hmm.
But it also comes with gear tie downs. It has one of those travel handles on it. They put a lot of thought into this thing. So I don't know what to say. He won. As weird of a device as it is, he won.
Mm-hmm.
We do have one that's over. Imagine Realms Book 1 by Julie Dillon of Shingle Springs, California. We've discussed this one. This is the Sword and Sorcery art book that Miss Dillon had put together. 22 pages. This one ended 4 days ago, so that would be... Gosh, what day? That would be the 20th. It had 992 backers at the end. The goal to start it was $15,000. Well, its final tally is $39,273.
That's pretty impressive for 900 people.
I know. They did
Yeah.
back this is some serious money. I'm sorry?
The backer rewards must be really exciting to them.
Well, we discussed how she had it well stacked. I mean, you got a copy of the book, I think, at just $30. So, actually, you get a signed copy of the book at $30. You get a printed copy at $25. So she made it easily attainable. She got a couple of the stretch goals out of the way. At $20, she added an additional, or $20,000, sorry, she added an additional PDF of the process of sketches. And at $25,000, she added exclusive thank you postcards to all print orders. Actually, she made it to the $30,000 one, so there was a second video that she uploaded showing the process of how she made some of her pictures. So, she did say if this went well, she was going to start work on a new one, which I believe was technology-based. Especially like her version of the Slumbering Naiad, though. That is not a way I've ever thought of that type of character. We have another Kickstarter here is one that V has taken personal interest in. It's the Star Trek Axanar by Axanar Productions of Los Angeles, California. This is the one where they're using the original version of the show and retelling a battle that was referenced once during the original series of the Battle of Axanar. This one has 2 hours left in it, literally. 2 hours left to go before it ends. It has 8,271 backers. The goal to start it was $100,000. Currently sits at $615,447. The show will definitely be made.
And
I'm gonna have to get in this.
I don't know. I saw an article earlier this week that said CBS gave them their blessing to do this.
Well, that's good. It's probably because a lot of things based on the original series don't matter a lot to them since they've gone part and parcel in the new continuity.
Yeah.
But actually, I was handed a note that Axanar may be presenting at BentCon this year in Burbank. BentCon is an LBGT comic convention that happens in November. I wonder if that means the stars will be there too. But they had backers at several different levels, including 4 people who backed it at $10,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me see. You'll be joining the team of Axanar Heroes in New York, scheduled to shoot in October, so just a couple months. And then, or the feature film shoot in LA, which is scheduled to shoot towards the end of the year in 2014. You'll get your own personalized director's chair, a copy of the script when it wraps. Whether you wish to join for a day, a week, or the length of the entire shoot is your choice. You work with a director, producers, cast, and crew to make Axanar happen.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive package. Usually at $10,000, they just say, "Well, here's a big shoe, and you can wear it." So, yeah, people are getting quite a bit for their money, at least. The next one we have is one we've had a little bit of back and forth on. Remember Touch Pico? Turn any surface into a touchscreen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A small handheld projector that turns any surface into a giant 80-inch interactive touchscreen. This one has 33 days left. It ends on September 25th, so we're going to be following this for a few weeks yet. It has 2,022 backers. The goal to start this is $55,000. Currently has $567,665. We're encountering a lot of pretty good success after a few weeks of some weird disappointments. I've done a little more poking into this thing. It appears that it's not I don't know if you could say a true touchscreen, but it appears that the interactive part of this thing has to do a lot with a stylus pen, a very large stylus. So it looked like that's how this is a touchscreen. It's not like the small pens that project a keyboard onto a table and you tap on those images.
Which are cool.
It uses infrared detection technology with the stylus. That's how this is a touchscreen. And its projection is on any surface at 40 frames per second, which means gamers will just start crying as soon as they start using it.
It ain't fast enough.
It's not native 1080p. We have the Cybereth Virtualizer, immersive virtual reality gaming by Cybereth at Herzogenburg, Austria. Wrong accent, I know. This is the one for the harness that's supposed to go part and parcel with like an Oculus Rift or Sony's Project Morpheus. It has 7 days to go. It ends on August 31st, the end of this month. Has only 495 backers. The goal to get this started is $250,000. Well, that 495 so far have pledged $300,058. That's a serious amount of cash for these individuals. No one's backed it at $10,000. There's actually been 6 people that have backed it at nearly $4,000 apiece. And you get 4 virtualizers for that package. Wow, I wonder what they need that for.
That's a lot.
You know, I don't know. That place might look like our first apartment together. Just a whole bunch of people and a lot of gear sitting around. But I still think it's an impressive rig. I don't have it's another one of those things where it's interesting technology, but I would need to see it work. But also need to see somebody in it that isn't quite, size 28 pants. Nothing against these guys, but everybody in the picture are some pretty well-built individuals. I want to know how this would interact with someone, say, my size. I still like the idea that you can use this. Yeah, I still like the idea that this thing will follow you running or walking, jumping, running. It looks like you can even simulate sitting in this thing. It's pretty impressive. It allows for a much more immersive experience if it works well. That's an if, though. We have Under the Dog. This is by Creative Intelligence Arts Incorporated of Tokyo, Japan. This appears to be an animated project about what it means to live and die well. The the subtitle for this is "Our Enemy is the Light of Humanity." I have no idea what that means.
That's poetic.
It has 14 days to go and ends on September 7th. Has 3,479 backers. The goal to get this started is $580,000. Currently sits at $240,203. That's interesting. They're at the halfway point of their 30 days, and they're at the halfway point of their goal. The character designs are nifty, but it's still one of those things that I can never tell how an anime is going to be until I can see it in motion.
Makes sense.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that looks interesting in stills, but as soon as it starts moving, oh my god, does it suck.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this will probably get me hate mail, but it's like Attack on Titan. I saw the stills on that, and just like, wow, this looks cool. Then I saw it in motion, it's like, wow, how do people have patience for this? You know, I'm definitely in the minority because I can't stand that series.
I have never played it, so I can't offer opinion.
It might be more your speed with a bunch of giants eating people like they were cattle and actually eating them more like they were candy bars.
And this way, the whole sub just did not appeal to me at all, so I didn't even give it a shot.
Oh, we have one here that ended. We have Building the Video Game Arena by S.E. Casey of Colorado Springs, California. This man wanted to build the first esports arena. Well, this one ended 4 days ago on August 20th. It had 4 backers at the end. The goal to get this started was $250,000. The final tally was $56.
Not enough people threw money at it.
Well, I don't know who those 4 people were. I wonder if all 4 of them were Casey himself. I mean, he did not have a very good concept here because he only had... Wait a second. Sorry, it says there were 4 backers. Only 2 donated $25 or more. So that means there were 2 assholes that donated like $2 or $3. You know, he only had 1 backer reward that said you get lifetime membership as a gold member, FAMPS t-shirt, and invite to grand opening. Did he really expect 10,000 people to just donate $25 for something that is not a proven commodity?
He didn't have a plan.
Now, I mean, his Kickstarter was only 3 paragraphs long. It really didn't detail anything about how he expected to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
Any design work, any ideas as to what kind of tournaments he might host. He had almost no information. I mean, I've been talking about it because I thought it was funny. Now that it's over and reading it, for all I know, this could be one of those scam crowdfunders where he's just trying to get money out of people.
Oh, he needs a better subject matter to hook them in.
Well, I mean, I would argue that that Los Angeles could definitely use an esports arena. I think we've got the player base as well as the international kind of city to do it. But I would have no idea on how to get that done either. I wouldn't know who I needed to contact to bring tournaments, or let alone find enough contractors with and enough lighting technicians to make the place into an arena. So it's not one of those things I aim to do, but the logistics of which are completely lost on me. Speaking of funny Kickstarters, we have Comic Book Museum by Brian Porter of Orlando, Florida. This man wants to create a brick-and-mortar comic book museum, which sounds well and good, but he also wants to give people access to classic comic books in physical print to read them. You can see why, as a comic fan, that is just that's foreign to me. You know, when you buy classic comic books, nobody reads them. You can just stare at the cover from a distance, man. This one has 13 days to go. It ends on September 6th. It has 2 backers. The goal to get this started is $10 million. He currently has $70. Which is the exact same amount it's had since we've found it. I mean, someone backed it at $50 where they get 1 free ticket, opening day brochure, name and picture on the Wall of Fame, possible display for one of their collection for 1 week a year. Choice will be made randomly, pick up at location. Dude, if I'm going to back you, you do not have access to my comics. I'm coming there to read your comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This whole thing is just really bizarre to me. as much as I would like something for that to be real, at the same time, as soon as somebody presented me with, like, you know, Amazing Fantasy 12 or Action Comics #1, I think I would just sit and stare at it. I don't think I would touch it. That would be like going to a strip club. Whole lot of frustration going on there. No actual joy.
Yeah, I can
we
see
have
similarities.
Yeah. We have Sensationals issue 2 here, a superhero and comic book by Shade of Lake Havasu City, Arizona. This is the second issue in a independent comic series that someone's produced regarding 7 female warriors of Infinity City. Well, it has 14 days to go and ends on September 7th, has 35 backers. The goal to get this issue printed is $2,000. Currently has $1,346. This Kickstarter seems to have stalled a bit. It started out gaining money pretty fast, but it seems to have been stuck at this position for a little while. I think they've gained about $100 since we last checked in, but I'm not very sure on that.
Yeah, as much as we kind of made fun of it, I hope we aren't the reason it stalled.
I would guess not. I mean, I would imagine if he managed to print the first issue, that his fan base is enough to keep this going. I guess the question would be whether or not he retained enough of those first issue readers to fund a second issue. I don't think this is a print book. I'm going to guess this is distributed via internet. But at the same time, you know, that he had something going on very early. I just don't know where it's gone since here.
Maybe not enough word of mouth to get, advertisement.
It could be. I mean, the only reason I found out about this is because I plugged some search words into Kickstarter itself. So we'll follow it and see where the last week's taken. We also have Dragged Away, A Night to Remember, a video game Kickstarter by Michael G. Calvert of New York, New York. He's created what he calls a roguelike RPG where an unknown terror is chasing you. He says, think Hotline Miami action sequences meet a Final Fantasy VI storyline. That's an ambitious description, sir. He has 9 days to go. It ends on September 2nd. Has 31 backers. The goal to get this started is $3,000. He currently has $1,329. So his Kickstarter started out well, but it seems to be falling behind a bit. If you back it for $1,500, you get to meet the creator. He will fly out and play the game with you and your friends anywhere in the U.S. You also get a very special bag of swag and the $15 reward, which is the game, the soundtrack, and early game access. To play the game, you get a digital copy of the game at only $10.
Which is very reasonable.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm not arguing with it at all. It's one of those things where I've not played Hotline Miami, so I don't know what that's like. I obviously played Final Fantasy VI to the point where I know several facts that I should not know.
Hotline Miami was a top-down, I guess, shooter to clear everything, but if you hit once, you're done.
Yeah. So I get the style of gameplay and everything. I've just never played it. And I don't want to poo-poo on this because for $10, you're getting the product already, and that's kind of rare when it comes to Kickstarters. Mm-hmm. So it's another one of these things where I think since we started following it, it's been in roughly the same position. One we started following recently that just made us kind of laugh is Tricera High Tops by Archaic Laboratories of New York. Something like that, yes. Someone has developed High Tops after staring at an art piece of a Triceratops and made High Tops that look like Triceratops. I shouldn't have to say any more than that.
I'm sorry. If I was 10 years old, I would probably be wearing those shoes.
If I was 10 years old, I probably would have been asking a lot, but never would have seen the shoes.
Yeah.
It had 18 days to go. It ends on September 11th. It has 383 backers. The goal to get these started is $25,000. They currently sit at $35,421. So in the last week, they have just bounced way past the goal we were asking about. If you back it at $88, you get a pair of Tricera High Tops in kid sizes. Back it at $99, you get an adult sizes. Pledge $129 or more, you get the Kid Champion Science Pack, kid shoes, sunglasses, and a polo shirt. So you can actually get quite a bit for your money out of this package. If you back it at $176, you get multiple pairs of Tricera High Tops. Yeah, you get at least a pair of the adult and a pair of the kid shoes. This is one of the things I'm staring at. I still think it's cool, but I have high confidence I wouldn't wear it myself.
Yeah. But I want to know someone that did.
I know. So would I. I unfortunately have white feet, so shoe shopping is not something I can do via internet. I have to go wear them first. It's a nice design, though. The Velcro, the placement of the Velcro is pretty intelligent. The last one we have are the Non-Adventures of Wonderella, a hero for all seasons. This is by Justin Pierce of Madison, Wisconsin. It's going to be a print compilation of 4 years of a web series regarding an alcoholic superhero. This has 11 days to go and ends on September 4th. Has 573 backers. The goal to get this done is $9,600. Currently sits at $26,671. His fan base definitely jumped behind him.
Good for him.
Yeah. At $15, you can get a digital PDF copy. Actually, at $5, you get a PDF paper craft of Wonderella. At $15, you get a digital PDF of the book. At $28, there were only 100 of those, and they're all gone for an early bird version of the book. At $30, you get all 3 physical copies of the book. Or there's a different $30 where you get a physical copy of the Non-Adventures of Wonderella. What's on the high end here? At $1,000, you get Planet of the Capes. You're a superhero in the Wonderella universe in an upcoming page. You get to choose a power based on an animal or elemental. But this is the Non-Adventures of Wonderella, so don't expect massive action sequences with wicked flips or fireballs. Okay. So from there we will move into the video game news. Just because we're nerdy and we like to talk video games, that's why we have this particular section. Steve, Jesse?
Yep.
Do you guys remember a Dreamcast game that I was very obsessed with called Shenmue?
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Shenmue was, I think it's safe to say it would be the first life simulator, really. Not like day-to-day life, you know, you're not just go to your job, go home, cry yourself to sleep at night over money, you know, stuff like that. No. This was the first game I knew of where it wasn't just an RPG, but you could interact with a lot of facets of daily life. You could take your character into the convenience store, buy food, or you could go to the I think they're called gachapon machines. You know, you could actually pick the course of your day instead of following any linear path. You could only advance a story if you really felt like it. Well, this game kind of died on the vine in the Xbox, simply because the player base in the US had really waned, and Japan lost interest in it as games became more complex. It took years, and I mean multiple years, between Shenmue 1 to Shenmue 2, and then 2 to 3. But there is a fan out there from Korea called Nokun Kid, who has gotten to work remastering the original Shenmue in HD.
Nice.
And Sega is apparently not doing anything to stop him. You can already download a preview video of the game for $6.99 on Steam. That's actually pretty freaking cool.
Nice.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I got that completely wrong. This guy's put out a video already on YouTube showing some of his work. I mean, do you care enough to see it, or should we just let that go? It's a 3-minute vid.
I wouldn't mind taking a look at it.
Okay. So, as the story says, you can imagine purchasing this for $6.99 on Steam as you watch the video. I appreciate the fact that Nokun Kid actually put in the Sega logo at the beginning of the video. At least he's actually saying, look, dude, it's not mine. Music is nice. I don't remember that in the game. Then again, I don't remember much of the audio from the game outside of the droning kind of voiceover work for the US market. If this guy's doing it by himself, he has done some impressive work on the sheen of this game. I don't know how well Shenmue would hold up today, though. games have gotten so ambitious and so much quicker than the way this game played.
I don't know how quickly The Sims plays.
I mean, you could run around town, and the original game did have some interesting touches to it. Like at Christmas, the entire town you walk through would have Christmas decorations up. During New Year's, everyone would get dressed up in, kimonos and yukatas and walk around town. It was one of the few games I knew where the weather could shift during the day. In other words, if you were told it was going to be raining during one particular day, it wasn't raining all the time. The rain would start and stop at random times. You would see the NPCs kind of drag out umbrellas if they're walking outside.
Nice.
So, the original programmers put a lot of thought into it, and I was always sad that I never finished the story, but like I said, by the time the third one came out, the story was all they had. They just kind of turned the third one into an interactive movie in Japan only. So, unfortunately, I don't know how the story ends. Although nowadays it's the internet, I'm sure somebody's probably just yelling at the computer, "Find a YouTube, Dick!" But, actually, the video from the arcade is pretty impressive of what he's put together. That's a lot of different videos for a machine to track.
Yeah, I suddenly have the urge to go back and play Golden Axe.
I give the guy credit. If he gets it done, yeah, I'll look for that on Steam. That would be a fun play for me. Just couldn't see too many people that would relate to it. My God, I still remember playing that game and then, like, every day stopping at the Gachapon machines trying to complete the collection of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it droned on. Hobbies, what can I say? The 2014 World Pokemon Championships were held in Washington, D.C. Last week. They named several champions in several different divisions and ways to play Pokemon. The champs in the TCG, or the trading card game Junior Division, is a guy named Haruto Kobayashi of Japan. Video game Junior Division was taken by Kota Yamamoto of Japan. TCG Senior Edition, I hope that doesn't mean like 80-year-olds playing this collectible card game. That would be creepy. It's Trent Orndorff of the United States. Video game Senior Division World Champion Nikolai Zelinsky of the United States. Wow, apparently old people in the U.S. play Pokemon. Cool. The TCG Master Division was taken by Andrew Estrada of Canada. And the Video Game Masters Division was eventually taken by Sejun Park of South Korea. I actually saw the video of Sejun Park's win. Some people were kind of surprised that he managed to pull it off because the last couple shots were taken with a Pachirisu out in the field. I know that doesn't mean much to you guys. It's a non-evolving electric mouse type. Think of it as kind of like the blue version of Pikachu, but some people were surprised that he won with this thing. That was relatively unheard of in their arena. You should have heard the announcers. They were just kind of catty about it. Nintendo has actually had a rise in their stock recently after a report of Pokemon game to debut on iPad.
Oh, man. Yeah.
You guys realize what that means, right? Nintendo is actually opening up their licenses because, I'm guessing because money sucks right now for them.
Yeah.
Too many people stealing them.
Yeah, I mean, the report that they may start actually licensing for other consoles is kind of important because some analysts have said that's the only way they could hope to stay alive long enough to get another console out. The fact that their stock rose 4% after this rise is pretty good. The only thing is, though, all that did was pare down their loss so far in stock to 16%.
No.
So they still haven't been able to rise back to a good level. All it did was just kind of limit their losses.
That's at least something.
Well, there's still Smash Brothers to look forward to. Some people are saying that that could really spur a lot of sales because of how popular that game is in fighting circles. I can't say because I don't enjoy the way Smash Brothers plays, so I've never really gotten into it. But I can't argue that every time I go to a convention, there's always probably 30 people sitting around a big screen playing prior versions of the game.
Man, that's a huge party game. I don't know why.
Huh?
I've never really gotten into it, but I know a lot of people that really enjoy it a lot.
You know, I think it's
Yeah.
because the fighting mechanics are so simple compared to other games like, pick other fighting game.
It is definitely largely a button masher from what I've heard. And when I say what I've heard, not what I've heard about players from the game, just me standing around other people playing the game and hearing.
From my experience, yeah, it is very simplistic, and yeah, button masher sounds appropriate.
Okay, we'll go from the simplistic to the complicated.
Oh boy.
How many people played Tetris or lost days of their life to Tetris?
I've played
In the
a
beginning,
good deal.
For as long as the batteries held out.
I haven't actually played Tetris itself, but Tetris clones.
Okay. Well, this may spark all of your interest, although your abilities, are going to vary. Obviously, there's a convention going on in California in November called Kamikaze.
Oh, yes.
They are celebrating the 30th anniversary of Tetris at this convention. How they're going to do that is you buy an extra ticket. You need to have a badge to attend this, and for an extra $20, you can attend the Tetris 30th anniversary. What this is that the people behind Tetris are looking to create the largest human Tetris in the world.
Yep.
For this $20, you get to attend, and you'll get a $48 costume for that $20. So you get to participate in this world record attempt.
You get to play as one of the damn pieces.
Yeah, I told my wife about that, and all she said is, "Oh, I'm going to do that." And you get to keep the costume too. They're not going to take it from you at the end of the at the end of the gathering.
Okay.
Hey, some people love their Tetris. What can I say?
It's a very popular Russian game. Yeah.
I only became familiar with a game called Elite Dangerous because I was watching Oculus Rift videos. Anybody?
Not heard of it.
No.
mm-mm.
This Elite Dangerous is it's a space sim. It's a space sim made to play within the Oculus Rift, and it is a rather impressive looking game. It is 3D immersive. You can obviously look all around the cockpit while you're in your ship. And it takes advantage of some of the 3D elements in the Oculus by having like holographic HUD displays down in the cockpit itself. And the reviews on it are kind of insane. Greg Tito of The Escapist said, "Well, for a few minutes, I was in a busy convention center in Los Angeles. I was one with my ship. I was Rogue Leader. I was Starbuck. I was the Last Starfighter. I loved it. Elite Dangerous is the reason I play video games," unquote. I give the guy points because he named like 3 major space movies that I watched as a kid. Another review here is by Eric Limmer of Gizmodo. Says, quote, "All the technical mumbo-jumbo in the world can't encapsulate the utter amazingness of this device. The squeal command, face-melting, mind-bending, soul-rending miraculousness of this experience. It's just, oh my god, you guys, I really did not want to ever take it off," unquote.
Hearing that, the Oculus Rift definitely has a good use in like racing sim games.
It has a stellar reputation that I have not seen before in a lot of peripherals. I mean, a lot of times, most devices start a fight simply because people are stupid and they want to start a fight. Whether it be consoles, whether it be different versions of PCs, everything seems to be just a reason to bitch, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
In the case of the Oculus, just about everything I've heard about is just, oh my god, I want one, and you have to get one too so we can do all this crap together.
A good sign.
It is. I'm not complaining about that aspect. It's just surprising to me. I'm so used to people telling me why I can't buy stuff instead of why I should.
Yeah.
Do you guys want an example of this Elite Dangerous? I actually found a video.
Shoot.
Let me see. Here we go.
We're theoretically, Will and I are connected online.
I skipped it to the section in the video that has to do with the actual play itself, and as you can see there, it's quite an immersive experience.
Right now, a HOTAS, a hot ass, whatever you want to call it. Hands on throttle.
As soon as I get through the commercial.
And got my stick on my right. This is a Cytec X52.
The guy's head is definitely spinning in.
And this game, obviously, you can play it with.
Sorry, do we need to restart the video?
But it's a great test of the legibility of fun.
I can
when
see
we
it.
played the the other space sim that Oculus is down.
I mean, it's really cool how much detail they put in the cockpit itself. I'm used to games like Wing Commander where there's one display that holds a whole bunch of very important information and then a bunch of nondescript graphics in the rest of the cockpit.
This game you do need to manage the UI. So right now, if you look at my screen, I'm in a space and I'm docked.
At the 3138 mark, this guy's pulling out of the starport, and it's almost intimidating.
Over to my left and the stick over to the right. I can look around the cockpit. I actually look around. This is great. And in front of me, there's
actually, it looks like you're pulling out of a starbase from Star Trek, really.
Navigate, and I'll actually go to return to surface right now. So I'm getting out of the hangar. The coolest thing
Did he just pull a 360 inside the starport?
Holographic menus pop up. So on my right, I have my status of my ship, my modules, my fire groups, my cargo, and my functions.
I do like what the video shows off. I wish the hosts were a little more energetic. They seem to talk about everything kind of like they're sitting down in a library.
Off my ship lights.
But let me see. At 3224, he's actually pulled out of the starbase. If I remember correctly, pretty soon he's going to flip it over so you can see what exactly you're sitting inside. Yeah, there he goes.
And I'm going to launch.
I'm flying by a planet right now, really, really fast.
Actually, if this has elements of 3D, I would be... Oh my freaking god, I would lose days of my life to this.
This would be pretty amazing.
Full 1080p resolution, graphics set on high, and I'm going to leave station.
No, I didn't see much combat in this demo because these guys were still kind of geeking out. When they made this video, they had just gotten the version 2 dev kit from Oculus.
Wouldn't you be geeking out?
I don't think I'd be making videos. I think I'd be sitting there in utter silence. You know, I would pretend my kids didn't exist for a couple of days. You know, which is probably a good reason why I should never have a dev kit, because you want me to test stuff? Fine, I'll test it. Excuse me, I'm gone. But the Oculus is definitely getting more prevalent in the convention and geek circles. You know, it's getting easier to find somebody who has one just to sit down and try it out these days, I would say. But I will stop the video there because I could get lost in this, and there's still like 13 minutes in it.
Oh, yeah.
Destiny has released new trailers with Mars and Venus as different backdrops. I've seen the Mars trailer. I've not seen the Venus one. I don't think I'll ask. I think I'll just pass that to you because I want to see this myself. Unfortunately, it's part of a playlist, so there's a little bit to go through. Let's see what we got here. I love how it has to tell me it's rated T for teen. Well, I'm not I'm not a teen, so fuck you. I'm going to play it anyway.
Yeah, they turned it into a...
I got the official Destiny trailer Venus right off the bat.
Yeah. It almost looks like you're walking around Pandora.
They're not the first ones to turn Venus into a green planet.
Well, considering it is from atmosphere.
I've noticed that it seems like as you move around planets, the enemy types are going to change pretty drastically from what I saw in the beta.
That's usually the case in the MMOS type, thing.
Can't say that bothers me.
It would get kind of old fighting the same guys over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Just based on the gameplay in the videos. Yeah, but just based on the gameplays in the videos I've seen, I would say this will very easily become one of the top tournament games for shooters. It's such a kinetic game with, I wouldn't say highly varied types of gameplay, but just about any type of character can hold any type of weapon. So
that's cool.
I could definitely see this turning into something very serious.
I hate it when you can only use like 2 kinds of weapons.
Yeah. Actually, I saw a video where Destiny took the Ice Bucket Challenge and sent out challenges to characters in, like, The Last of Us and freaking Call of Duty, Advanced Warfare and shit.
Yeah, I've seen a few others where they call entire studios in teams and whatnot.
No, I mean they called out other virtual avatars.
Well,
when I say Destiny took the Ice Bucket Challenge, I mean there was a bucket of water dumped over the little AI that follows you around.
I've seen ones where they called out, characters from, CG characters from movies. Like, a lot of DreamWorks characters were called out for one.
Wow, that's just a waste of time.
They actually got away with it because the guy who did actually ran DreamWorks.
Still sounds like a waste of time. There are people who are actually complaining about the Destiny beta, and they're complaining that the game is too small. There are people complaining about the idea that you have to run over the same kind of large zone several times to get instance missions out of them. And Bungie Director of Production John T. Barnes tells Eurogamers, quote, "If I'm honest with you, it blew my mind, because it's the biggest game we've ever made. I don't think people understand the depth and amount of gameplay there is in Destiny. People are basing their opinions on the beta version of Destiny, which represents just a slice of what the full game has to offer. I don't understand how people could have that concern when you think about that and all the different planets we're going to open up and the gameplay we've got there," unquote.
People are impatient and want instant gratification.
Yep.
Yeah. He actually continued, quote, "I honestly believe Destiny is a huge game. I can tell you through blood and sweat as well. It's been a huge game and undertaking for us. Compared to anything we've done before, if you're going to do a comparison, you're laughing, honestly," unquote.
I'm kind of inclined to believe him. Because,
Well,
in the beta, you're only getting a small sample to test and whatnot.
Well, I mean, but before the beta was over, we saw that we could move to another planet if it was unlocked, so I knew there was more to the game. It's not like you're just going to be wandering around that one field in Russia. So, it's a case of shut up and wait. Unfortunately, it's the internet. They don't shut up and wait. They just bitch endlessly.
Yep.
Yeah.
But hey, any kind of advertising is good advertising, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll remember that next time Paris Hilton makes a sex tape.
Ew.
It got her known.
Also got her derided. A lot of games are displayed at 1080p. We read the story last week where somebody is suing Sony because one of the games they bought was not in native 1080p, as they put it. It turns out there's a lot of issues regarding 1080p on the Xbox One. Some games will actually slow down frame rate or lose resolution during high stress times. They've recently said that a showing recently for one of Blizzard's games was not locked at 60 FPS. So that is an issue that Xbox is going to have to work with. Not necessarily because everyone's going to sit there and go, well, if it's not 1080p and 60 FPS all the time, I'm not going to play it. The problem is that there's a lot of people out there who have demands that these things at this generation consistently be at this speed. I don't know who they are myself. I just want a good game. If it goes from 40 FPS to 60 FPS, to me that's almost negligible. I can deal with that. If there's a sudden loss in resolution, that's more jarring to me. What do you guys think? Or is this even an issue for you?
Well, considering I am working with secondhand gear, I really don't care.
Yeah, frame rate is not something I generally even notice.
Honestly, it would depend. If I actually built a machine to display my games that way, then I might bitch. But right now, I don't care.
Okay. Yeah. I just, like I said, it's not a big deal to me, and that's not to say I don't love graphics. I adore graphics. I just like games. I don't need them to be of any particular minimum to me. I mean, hell, I'm replaying Final Fantasy X HD version.
Well, I mean, the main thing is if your frame rates fall too low, then the game starts stuttering, lagging out. You start noticing, issues.
I just doubt they're going to let it drop that low. I think it's going to drop a bit aesthetically. I just don't think it's going to affect the gameplay.
No.
Speaking of different style of games, Assassin's Creed Rogue, according to Kotaku, actually is a very different type of game. We've discussed how Unity is the new high-def, multiplayer or campaign multiplayer game, whereas Rogue is closer to prior Assassin's Creed. It's single player in the campaign, but it has updated aspects of just about everything seen up to Assassin's Creed Black Flag. They've changed the naval warfare a bit. They've upped the complexity of the ground combat.
So there's they kept the good
also
things, they cut out the crap.
Yeah, and you're playing as a Templar in the center of the entirety of the game instead of an assassin. They noted one of the major differences of instead of taking on assassination missions and infiltrating forts, Rogue has you tracking down and eliminating gang outposts, assassins' dens. So it also has the main character of Cormac running around causing distractions, blowing up poison reserves, cutting down assassin's flags, and upsetting things in outposts. So they call it the reverse Black Flag. You're doing everything to undo a lot of the damage assassins cause
Basically,
instead
instead
of
of cloak and dagger, you're going SWAT.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are the authority now, so you don't have to act in such a stealth manner in this game.
Yep.
Nice.
So I don't find the Assassin's Creed games fun myself, but I'm sure my wife will probably pre-order this before I'm done with this sentence.
Your wallet's a little lighter, man.
Yeah. There was one kind of funny video that crossed my eye. Do you guys remember how Pierce Brosnan became James Bond kind of with a shotgun blast instead of a whimper when he starred in GoldenEye?
I didn't really pay attention, but yeah, I remember the name.
Okay.
I love
how about
GoldenEye.
this? Do you guys remember that the GoldenEye spawned a video game?
Yes.
One of the most popular video games of all time. And do you know that Pierce Brosnan had never actually played this game before?
Really?
Oh, yes.
Wouldn't be too surprised by it.
Yeah, true.
Well, I'm going to send you guys a link here.
I already seen it.
Because there's a video of him on Jimmy Fallon trying to play the game.
I love all your movies, and I rewatch them now, and they're on Blu-ray, DVD. I have 20 collections of all the James Bond stuff.
Jimmy Fallon strikes me as a huge geek. He talked a lot about strange
Nintendo
things.
64 video game, GoldenEye. And
Let's have a bit
I
of
can't believe he actually.
geeky appearance.
Yeah, I can't believe he actually dragged out the box.
You play you, and
I was no good at it. I played it once and shot myself in the foot. It was just,
well, I was wondering, this is kind of like a childhood dream of mine. Now, I would love to, or college age.
I like it. This is kind of a childhood dream of mine. And Brosnan just says college age. Oh, right, college age, yeah. As if to say I'm not that fucking old, Junior.
Oh my god.
64 ready to go.
GoldenEye, this is fantastic. Oh my gosh.
I almost feel like he should pick up the cartridge before he plugged it in and say, see kids, this is how we used to do it.
No. You need to go older. Get the original NES.
It didn't have
Blow in the
GoldenEye
cartridge.
Yep.
God, they just showed the N64 controller. I hated those things.
I did too.
Yeah.
They were not made for people with large hands at all. And I know I have large hands. I've had people tell me I've got bear claws.
Good luck, Mr. Bond. I'm above you. Okay. All right, so then you go, you just run with the gun. Now you need blue to pick up.
Is he actually karate chopping?
Yeah, that was your melee.
You're chopping.
Oh, okay.
well, when in doubt, chop.
Yeah.
Not chopped.
They aren't using a rumble pack. They're doing it wrong.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, how are you still alive? You're like the real Bond. Oh, my God. Don't play the real Bond in this game. Yes! Oh, Jimmy, you are a good man.
Oh my
I would have
god.
laughed. As soon as Brosnan went down in that game, I would have laughed myself stupid because hit Fallon over the head with a controller. That was cute.
I think he's mildly abused by his antics.
Yeah, although Brosnan has made it pretty clear he wants to get away from the Bond stuff. The last couple movies, he was not having fun while he was making them, and that was pretty evident. I won't get any further into that. That's just a whole different type of thing. Disney Infinity 2.0 is close to release. My kids are still kind of mad at me that I didn't pick up a copy while I was at Comic-Con. Well, they have to earn it. School started. I want to see grades, damn it. Yeah. But the game actually comes out, or the Marvel Hero Starter Pack actually comes out on September 3rd. Holy crap, so it comes out pretty fast here. There's not just a Marvel Hero Starter Pack. There is actually going to be what they call a Disney Original Starter Pack that comes with Merida from Brave and Stitch that you can play with. So there will be actual Disney expansion. This isn't just, this is how Marvel invades our game. They released a video that shows several characters you can play, including it looks like Maleficent, Jasmine, Aladdin, Stitch, Donald Duck, and Merida, among others. So there will be stuff here for Disney fans as well. The only pain in the ass, though, that I've read is that Disney characters, Disney originals, cannot interact on Marvel maps. Marvel characters cannot interact on Disney original maps. So if you take your characters to a specific zone that didn't already have Marvel characters in it, you can't take Marvel characters in it. It's a little bizarre to me. I would think you want that mixed together. I mean, you own the whole frickin' thing.
Yeah.
So I don't understand that. The biggest news from Gen Con, which happened in last weekend, is that Dungeons & Dragons 5 was out for sale, and it sold very well.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, the organized play tables in the D&D area were always full. And the 5e session sold out quickly. Wizard of the Coast even brought the monster manual with them, which isn't due for release for another month.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So, in addition to that, several Kickstarter projects arrived. Icons Assembled was out for sale. Let me see. So, Gen Con, it sounds like as a tabletop and gaming convention, was a pretty good success. I always wish I could get out there. They had a couple Gen Cons out in this area, but I haven't seen them return, so I don't know how well they did. The last piece of video game news I have is another video showing off the abilities of Vinoculus. And somebody played the training session of Half-Life 2 in it, which I know will be important to V since she just finished the first one.
Yeah.
Here is a video. It's actually really impressive what they got this thing to do. You can see him starting off opening up some boards there, but I skipped it to this section of the video so that you can see how you interact with the ordnance in the game.
It is a bit 3D, actually.
Yeah.
You saw that grenade just kind of rocketed out of the guy's hand?
I just hold down my bumper.
But because of the motion tracking controllers he has there, you can also do simulated throw motions. You can actually pretend to toss a grenade instead of just launching it out.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh crap! It's gonna be like the Wii Man. You need arm space.
Yeah.
Just be running around and just whoop, behind my back, and then it goes down there. It's hard to describe how awesome that is.
One thing that he says in the video that I didn't quite understand is he said he had a detached HUD.
I was trying yesterday. I was practicing kind of throwing it through that hole.
What that means is the way he has it set is that you can hold your weapon in one direction and look in another.
The best way to throw it.
Oh,
It doesn't actually fire the direction you're looking. It actually does real-world physics. You know, you can aim it at 90 degrees from the view and fire.
Oh, that's cool.
Just calm down. Just calm down.
He actually had one that he showed off or he showed off early in the tracking video that you could actually point it over your shoulder and fire behind you as you're walking as well.
Nailing it.
Watching this video, frankly, makes me more hopeful that the guy behind Oculus is correct and they'll have a virtual MMO out that'll have a lot of play.
That sounds
you see
fun.
You see how he's checking his health and his shield on the back of his hand?
Look at the animation on those.
I know. Whoever, he did say that you had to do a different build in this because the way the Half-Life was originally made, you only saw part of the gun.
Right.
So somebody had to build graphic models for the entirety of the weapons now that you can see the hand swinging around the screen like that. But when you look at it, it still looks pretty cool. Let me see, he just picked up like every gun you can get in training.
So you got your pistol.
He's begun firing.
That's amazing already. So as I recall, you had...
It is kind of a little disorienting to see the disembodied hand shoot things.
It is nice to see it swing around the screen, though. He's right. It does look like you can aim in different directions from what you're looking.
Kind of like your gun's here, and that's sort of the only thing that you can ever see. So he had to, remake all the models so you can inspect.
Oh, please tell me it's
You've got the ammo dump, so I can see how much ammo you have.
It'd be funny if you actually shoot those things sideways. Like,
oh, you can.
Nice.
I could just be like running down a corridor forwards and then just
That's cool.
Yeah, and there with the machine gun, he just showed off the disconnected HUD. Or the disembodied HUD.
If I just understand it, your ammo and stuff shows on the side of your gun when you look at it. That is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious if you can actually shoot yourself.
I don't know. That'd be an interesting way to commit suicide. Guys, I gotta log out. Suddenly he turns the gun on himself. Blam, 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 blam.
The iron sights, which is so cool. I'm actually closing my right eye and lining it up. I can close my left eye.
It's really weird to watch him actually try to aim down the sights of the gun.
But it's so amazing.
But that's how you would have to aim in the game.
It's, you know, I've heard people complain that these shooter games are training for, you know, whatever. As they are currently, no. This way, maybe.
The coolest one I find.
Well, part of the problem with accidental shootings is people not actually knowing how to use the guns, so...
You guys see him reloading that revolver?
Pick it up, and then you shoot. Now, if that isn't the friggin' coolest thing anyone can do.
Aha!
Nice!
That's part of the way the game tracks, is that instead of just hitting a button to reload, you would actually have to do the motions of loading a clip.
That's sweet.
And yeah, each one has a different set of motions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very
Now, how do you
intuitive.
reload
if
the
you
rocket launcher?
I wondered that myself. He never really got into that.
I mean, it's very intuitive. If you actually seen any action film, you should know how to load the different weapons.
I've been just like
be right back.
Well, no, but I mean the fact that you actually can. Whoever designed this game definitely made it for a very immersive experience.
Once again,
like I said, watching this video, I sat down, saw this, and I just thought, oh, I want somebody to make swords and magic and axes and shields and yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see why everyone has a glowing review of this.
Still, though, unfortunately, it's a dev version. I'm pretty sure Oculus will not release next year. But, and I grant you, this is Half-Life. You know, I'm sure there would be copyright issues, but this would also mean that people are finding the basis to make original games that are just going to blow the doors off anything people have right now.
Could you imagine Battlefield with this?
Jeez, no, dude. I mean, if I had to play a game like that, I'd be running around constantly firing over my shoulder just in case someone's running up behind me.
I can imagine Tomb Raider on this.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
Those psychotic scenes where those Oni are walking around outside the door.
Right?
Right up to the wires. So weird.
Yeah, I'm gonna end it there because, you know, the video's almost over and everything, but holy shit, you get the idea.
Well, that was just...
Now all of a sudden I really... Yeah, all of a sudden I really, really want an Oculus.
Me too.
Just because you can see that even if the first few games are not very impressive, people are going to come out with some stuff that is just going to blow your doors off.
Oh, absolutely.
From there we have Marvel media news. The first story is that you guys remember last week we talked about how Disney and Amazon are getting into a fight. Some kind of contractual problem, and now Amazon won't allow pre-orders for some Disney movies coming out, including Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Maleficent. Well, turns out Amazon may not have as much clout as I thought in this fight, because although they are not allowing pre-orders for those movies, the pre-orders for those movies at Walmart have shot up.
I think we predicted this. Your loss.
Well, Amazon is still definitely the largest e-retailer out there, but I think they've overguessed how much people want these particular films. You know, you're talking about two movies that made pretty major money at the box office that are out for pre-order, and a lot of people are not going to want to skip it.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you can pre-order the movies at Walmart for similar discounts as to what you would usually get on Amazon. And this is a summer where Disney's going to want to sell their movies. They had Captain America, the Winter Soldier, Maleficent, $1 Million Arm, the Muppet movie. And you can bet people are already lining up to buy Guardians of the Galaxy while they're at it.
Oh, yes.
So they're not going to wait. Speaking of Guardians, there was some interesting art that came out as to a potential look for Rocket Raccoon that they called much burlier, and it was much more technical. Yeah, there was more evident technology in the original design, apparently. I sent you a link. It's the first picture there. It's not a bad picture, but it is a little bizarre to look at. In the movie, there was only apparent technology on his back. In this one, it would have been on his face and arms, probably his legs, too.
Oh, wow. I think they went with a better choice.
Probably.
Yeah.
It would have been very distracting to see all that stuff on his muzzle. I do like the body armor, though.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I grew up with the comic, so... Yeah. The first picture of Paul Rudd on the Ant-Man set has been released. You guys seen it so far?
Yep.
I have not.
I'm sending it to you now. It looks like it's Scott Lang after he had a bad night, frankly. He's got a hoodie and a jacket on. He's in front of the Golden Gate Bridge. He's got a couple bandages over his eyebrow.
He looks tired.
Yeah. I saw a news story in Yahoo that said the first picture of Paul Rudd as Ant-Man is hilarious for all the wrong reasons. And then they pointed to the ratty hoodie and the fact that he looked like he hadn't slept in days. And I'm just kind of staring at this going, wow, you guys just really can't wait for the movie to come out before you find something to bitch about, can you?
Internet, man. Everyone just loves to bitch.
The limit.
No, I mean, this is Yahoo News who made these complaints.
Yeah, I'm saying with the limited knowledge I have for this character of Ant-Man, I do know that he stole the suit and he was kind of a thief at the beginning.
He was a thief, but he was stealing stuff because he couldn't pay for his daughter's medical treatment.
Exactly. So this kind of something I would expect from the character, or at least what they would show on screen.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is you got to remember Scott Lang, although he was a thief at his beginnings of Marvel Comics, he wasn't an idiot either. He was kind of a mid-grade scientist that fell on pretty hard times.
Yeah.
So the guy's intelligent. He's just had a couple bad turns. So I mean, if this is the early shooting, looks to be about in line with what I would expect anyway.
Yeah.
There was actually some interesting descriptions that came out post-Comic-Con about the Ant-Man footage that was aired during the Marvel Movies panel. You guys want to hear what this was about?
Sure.
Shoot.
Well, I'm going to read this from HitFix. It starts with a long tracking shot through Pym's personal lab. We hear the conversation between Scott Lang and Hank Pym, played by Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas. Pym is trying to convince Lang to help him steal something. Lang protests, saying he's not a superhero, and Pym tells him that's exactly the point. Quote, "You're not an egomaniac." Lang keeps trying to wiggle out of it, and Pym just growls at him. Quote, "Jesus Christ, Scott, it's like you already shrank your balls." Unquote. In the end, it sounds like he talked him into it, promising, quote, "It's just a small job," unquote, as the camera stops on a shot of the Ant-Man helmet. What followed was really a lovely little glimpse in the actual suit in effect. It's just after Lang breaks in to steal some of the tech that Darren Cross managed to take from Pym in his business takeover. Oh, so that's what the story is. Darren Cross took over Hank Pym's company, and Pym's looking to get his tech back. He's running from the building, shrunk down to ant size, and he can hear Pym talking to him through the earpiece in his helmet. Pym tells him that he's got to get on the edge of the building where there will be a ride waiting. That ride turns out to be a flying ant, and Pym tells him to just use the helmet to command it. Good advice, but then Lang trips and falls, and the helmet starts to sputter and spark. As security starts to close in, Pym tells Lang to just jump off the edge of the building, and when he does, a group of ants swoop in beneath him, and he manages to saddle up, get some control, and then fly directly into an air vent in the building as the title treatment came up.
That sounds very typical of an Ant-Man issue, I guess.
Well, frankly, though, Ant-Man has not been one of my favorite characters throughout comics, regardless of what character it is. As far as a movie goes, this sounds pretty cool.
It sounds visually pleasing.
Yeah. I have heard that Pym makes several references to Tony Stark in the movie as, kind of a pain in his ass, which does follow along with the comics.
Isn't Tony Stark a pain in everyone's ass?
Well, Pym and Stark also have kind of a running rivalry because they're two of the top scientists in the Marvel Universe. Pym had a lot of trouble. In the comic books, he had struck his wife. At the time, was the Wasp. He had bamboozled the Avengers a couple times and had some character issues. In the comics, they recently wrote that the reason for that is because he's bipolar. They actually tried to explain some of his strange behavior with bipolar syndrome, which does make a modicum of sense to me.
A little bit. I just hope they just, do it right.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Speaking of Ant-Man, while talking about the movie in an interview with IGN, Kevin Feige the chief of Marvel Movies, talked about the possibility of other films, specifically Black Panther and Captain Marvel. Quote, they're both characters we like. That development work has been done, is continuing to be done on. It's a question I get asked more than anything else. More than Iron Man 4, more than Avengers 3, and that's sort of the first time that's really happened to us. So I think that makes a difference. That's something we have to pay attention to. I've always said we have our plan. It's served us very well. There hasn't been anything that has made us deviate or change from that based on an opinion, because opinions online change, and they alter, and they're based on sort of limited information they have to what's going on behind the scenes, unquote.
Yep.
Now, some people read that and freaked the fuck out, as if to say, just because we want these movies means it means you have your plan, you're not going to do them. Not at all what he fucking said there. If you listen, he said that there's development work that's been done on both of these, but they have a plan they're following. So just because they haven't announced it doesn't mean they haven't done anything. They just admitted that they've been working on 2 movies that aren't even officially announced on the schedule. So all that means is fucking patience. Give them time, because as much as I want to see these characters, I gotta admit, what they've been doing so far has worked extremely well. They took a character like Iron Man, who a lot of people never thought is Major League, and now he is. They took a character everyone thought that was boring, including myself in Captain America, and made him interesting. And now they took a kind of a cult group in the Guardians of the Galaxy and turned them into a major force. So I don't see a reason to tell them to do anything differently. If they're working on it, they're going to develop it, do it in their time.
Agreed.
We're all Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan here.
Yep.
So we're bucking at the trend of internet gripers. But they've announced that they've added more to the cast of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep.
And they've added Wonder Woman.
The actress.
I was waiting for somebody to ask me. Adrian Palicki, who starred in the pilot of the Wonder Woman TV series that the WB tried to get done a while ago, she has joined up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and she's going to play a different superhero. She's going to be Bobby Morse.
Mockingbird.
Okay, thank you.
She gets to be the Mockingbird, Hawkeye's ex-wife. I don't know if that'll happen in the cinematic universe, but that's who the character is in Marvel.
Right.
So hopefully she can do better than that. Well, I admit, I never saw the pilot for Wonder Woman that she did. I only heard how god-awful it did, and I hope that has to do only with the writing. I'm not familiar with Adrian Palicki's acting credits. But that's not the only character they've announced. Brian Patrick Wade is signed on to play Crusher Creel.
Yep.
He's known to comic fans as a longtime Hulk villain and Thor villain called the Absorbing Man. And no, he's not yellow or a sponge. He has the powers to turn his body into any material he touches. That's why you see him usually walking around the wrecking ball. Normally, because of his augmentations, he has a pretty good level of strength, but as you can imagine, it gets better as he finds materials that are more dense. In the comic book, at least, he has several long-term goals that he has trouble meeting. He would like to get his hands on adamantium, or even better, he'd like to get his hands on Mjolnir. He doesn't want to lift it, he just wants to touch the stone so he can turn into that material.
I think they did in one cartoon, and yeah, he felt sorry afterwards.
Well, I should have paired this with the Breuer story, because Evangeline Lilly tweeted a couple pictures of herself sitting in the... it looked like sitting in the makeup chair at the Ant-Man shoot. She was getting ready for her scenes, more than likely, and she shows off this interesting bob cut she has, which I'm guessing is not her actual hair. I'm going to guess that's a wig. But some people lit up when they heard that on the internet, because I sent you guys another image. It's very similar to a recent look of Janet Van Dyne in the comic books. Although her character is obviously Hope Van Dyne, who's supposed to be the daughter of Hank Pym in this one. But it does look more and more like Evangeline Lilly's character will be the Wasp. Whether or not she is the Wasp in the comics, or in the movie, I should say, I don't know. This could be another build-up towards Avengers 3, for all I know. So, it's looking good. It looked like they're building the structure they need, and we discussed how the Ant-Man movie was starting to look kind of dicey, but they started shooting at least. So, I'm very hopeful that they produce something watchable.
That's all we can hope for.
Yeah. Do you remember last week we talked about how Chris Pratt is a thief?
A little bit?
Pratt. Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, stole his costume.
Yep.
Yeah, he stole his costume from Guardians of the Galaxy. He said he was going to do some appearances at children's hospitals.
Yep.
The man is not a goddamn liar. It was tweeted out on August 20th that he ended up at Children's Hospital of Los Angeles that Wednesday in full Star-Lord garb in his Ravager costume. There's actually a picture of him with some younger kid. He took the Ravager coat and put it on the kid's shoulders.
Nice.
And he was recognized throughout the hospital as Star-Lord.
Nice.
So, man, the guy's got a heart bigger than Texas.
He seems like a really awesome person.
Yeah.
I would love to meet
It's
him.
interesting. It seems like his lifestyle's really changed since he dropped about, I think, somewhere around 40 pounds for the movie. But there was another one, another story that came out on The Verge, which is more or less a Hollywood website. And it was an interesting article in the fact that some people have said that, according to them, some parties have said that DC movies are much more successful than Marvel movies.
What?
What?
Yeah. Not recently, in all time. There have been many more DC movies and Marvel movies over the course of the last couple decades.
Yeah, I could think of maybe 4 that were good.
Well, they've added it. Verge went through the trouble of adding up movies going all the way back to, it looks like, 1966.
Well, actually, now I'm thinking about it, Red was a DC title, so those are okay.
Red was a Vertigo title, I think.
But I think it was produced by DC.
Vertigo is a DC
affiliate.
No, sub-publisher. Oh. But they didn't talk about that because they were talking specifically about the superhero movies. According to their numbers, when you add up DC's movies in ticket sales since 1978, after adjusting for inflation, DC has made $8.9 billion. However, when they added up Marvel movies, adjusting for inflation over a much shorter time period, Marvel has made $17.7 billion. DC did have one thing kind of drawing it back, though, when you consider everything, because DC has only ever had Warner Brothers working on their properties. Even pre-buyout, Warner Brothers' name was pretty much on just about everything they did. However, Marvel has the advantage of their rights being right now in 3 different studios, so they can produce movies much faster. Probably much easier to justify the cost, too. But, the article on The Verge even added in the 1990 Captain America movie that made $18,000. They did. It's true. I didn't know the Supergirl movie made the equivalent of $32 million.
I didn't even know there was one.
It's not a good movie.
Yeah, I've had the unfortunate pleasure of watching it.
Yeah. So, at least it's actually laid out in numbers, finally. The last bit of Marvel media news I have. Daniel Radcliffe revealed that he had recent talks with Marvel about something.
Yeah, I saw that article.
He talked about when he went to Comic-Con and he was dressed up as Spider-Man, which was the only way he was going to be able to walk the floor. He had a quote, I actually talked to some of the guys from Marvel not long ago, and they were saying, we're just going to wait for somebody at Comic-Con to build an actual Iron Man suit. Then we're going to buy it and use it for the film. There is some curiosities, though, because the people that wrote the story did note that he didn't specify whether he talked to Marvel Films or just Marvel in general and was, kicking shit around. So some people are saying that maybe he might be up for the Doctor Strange role. I would say if you're going to use Daniel Radcliffe in something, you got to find something better. I know that came out as shit. I don't mean that Doctor Strange is a bad character, but I think you need to find something a little more central for Radcliffe to do. I don't have any good suggestions, but, well, actually I have one suggestion. He could definitely do a young Cyclops pretty well.
Assuming that you can.
Unfortunately, that's not in their realm of possibility.
Yeah, unless
he would have to talk to Fox for that, wouldn't he?
Unless, Fox has a major aneurysm and releases the X-Men.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a bitch? Is that Marvel suddenly writes it recently that Cyclops turned into an Avenger just so they could use the character?
In the current state of comics, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Well, we'll see. Remember, we talked about the Axis inversion where a lot of things are going to change. So it seems like a lot of things are possible. DC media news. First one I've got is that the DC Universe Online game is getting new heroes and lantern powers to go to different characters. They're going through the variants that we're seeing in the Blackest Night, where, if you remember, Superman had a blue ring of hope, and
Yep. So Flash.
The Flash had a blue ring of hope. Excuse me. Wonder Woman had a purple ring of love and several other things.
I find that odd, but oh well.
It happened. But the new characters being added include Green Arrow, Deathstroke, The Flash, Grodd, Shazam, Black Adam, Blue Lantern Kyle Rayner, Red Lantern Guy Gardner, and several others. They're also adding munitions inspired by Sergeant Rock, so your character can add military hardware and explosives. Atomics inspired by Fireform, so you can heal with cellular manipulation. And experimental serums inspired by Bane. I don't want anything to flush through Bane, dude.
Ew.
So if you're a fan of the game, there's a lot here to enjoy. And speaking of Arrow, the Arrow TV series has added another actor who's going to play another comic book villain. Matt Ward has been cast as Komodo. It's another archer in the DC universe. I am not familiar. I do not know the game.
I don't know. Yeah, I saw the article myself, and I wasn't unfamiliar with the character.
It's one of those things where as I read through everything going on in the Green Arrow TV series, half the time I see another bow and arrow, and all I can think is, again?
Most of his villains were archers, if not all of them.
It's just to see them all introduced so quickly in 3 seasons of a TV series, it kind of makes me wonder where all these people were fucking hiding. But The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, has said that he is actually working on the Shazam film. The problem is that he said that they just hired a writer, and he didn't actually specify whether he is going to be Shazam or Black Adam.
Honestly, he could play either one.
Yeah. I don't know, Steve. He might be Mary Marvel.
Admittedly, if he plays Shazam, he's gonna be a lot funnier.
I read a couple articles after he let loose that he was working on the movie, but not as which character. There was one article that came out with an interesting idea that you can't cast him as Black Adam because that would kind of upset his movie history, and he might not be able to play as many family-friendly roles as he used to doing.
Yeah.
It was an interesting point. I don't think that would stop him from playing Black Adam, though, because if the character's in the movie, he's probably going to be one of those anti-hero type characters.
Why do you say that?
It's going to be something. That's how he's long been portrayed in the comics. He's a leader of a fascist nation, but oftentimes his adventures have to do not with him taking over different places. He just wants to keep people doing, heinous things out of his country.
Yeah.
He spends a lot of time just protecting his borders. But when I say protect, that means even when superheroes fly over, he's just like, get out! Bam!
Basically, he's kind of like Batman, except with superpowers.
Yeah.
Get out of my city.
And he doesn't care about ripping people in half. He's made that pretty clear as well.
Yeah.
But this character, Black Adam, was actually on the Justice Society for a long time because he was doing it to protect his country, and the others figured, maybe we can protect some people by teaching him not to rip other people in half.
Yeah, but he's kind of God complex, so...
Speaking of God complex, there's a picture of Henry Cavill on the set of Batman v Superman. You like that segue?
Yeah.
Here it is. It's a very basic picture. It's definitely him between takes. He's got this thing it looks like a raincoat on to... I don't know if it's protecting the costume. It looks like it's a sunny day. It's probably just to keep people like the guy who took this photo from taking the picture.
Probably.
It does look like they brightened the colors on the suit, though. That looks more of a royal blue than the prior's film navy blue.
Yeah, you're right.
Still no red trunks. I'm very grateful for that. Hey, say what you will about the red trunks and their iconography. All it does is draw your eyes directly to the man's groin. And in Brandon Ruth's case, I could put an eye out.
Yeah, I have to admit that was the first thing I kind of saw.
Yeah. But that's not the only picture that was released. We discussed another actor was cast in Batman v Superman named Scoot McNairy, but they didn't say what he was doing. This is not going to help that speculation. I sent you another picture of him standing around, it looks like between takes, getting ready to light a cigarette. He's wearing some bizarre green screen leggings, though. I'm trying to picture what he could be, but I admit I'm at a loss on this. Some of the entertainment racks who don't know better said that this meant he was going to be Green Lantern.
No.
No, they don't want to see his feet for some reason. I don't know why that would be.
Either amputation or there's something else going down there that we don't know. I can't think of anything at the top.
We know he's not Cyborg. Could he be the big screen version of the Flash?
I doubt it.
I'm at a loss. I don't know what this is supposed to be. So I don't have a good explanation for this. The last bit of DC media news is also Batman v Superman news, and it's kind of interesting in the fact that they have apparently, according to Screen Rant, been filming a scene where Ben Affleck walks into a church they rented that's been turned into an underground MMA den, and he places a bet with some patrons wondering what this billionaire is doing here. And Affleck replies that he's kind of a fight person. But he ends up having a conversation with someone at the bar, and there are people wondering that if they're reenacting a particular scene where Clark Kent and Batman talk, and just Batman throws a punch and Superman looks at him as if he's deranged. Some people wonder if this might be a throwaway scene, and I don't know if you have time to throw away when you're supposed to be introducing like 8 characters in the course of this film.
It feels like it's going to be rushed.
I'm trying to hold out hope, despite not being a DC fan. I just want to see a good movie, and I'd like to see them do better because, frankly, the better they do, the more Disney has to step up its game and make better Marvel movies.
Yeah, that's very true.
My problem is that I have the same concerns Jesse does in that they're throwing so much into this first movie, well, technically second movie in their universe. There's really not a lot of time for people to get used to characters they're not aware of. I mean, a lot of people are aware of Batman and Superman, but they're not as well aware of Green Lantern or frickin' Cyborg, and they're just going to be lost when it comes to these characters.
Yeah, it's just... With as many names as they're attempting to drop into this film, they're going to feel rushed or way too cluttered.
Yeah.
Well, from there we'll move into general media news, where we talk about stuff that tickles nerds' fancies but doesn't fit into Marvel and DC. The first one is that Godzilla 2 is getting a release date in 2018. June 8th, 2018, the next Godzilla movie comes out. That is quite a while away. Is that because of all the special effects they're likely to need, or is that because they don't have a script?
Column A or column B, take your pick.
Well, on the story on the Inquisitor, they have it here that Godzilla is going up against Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah. All 3 will make appearances in the next movie. This makes it sound like Vince McMahon is running the damn show.
All I can say is one of those is going to be a quick fight at the beginning.
Probably. What were you going to say, V?
I forget. It wasn't important.
Okay. Hey, if it pulls off, it pulls off. But yeah, this could blow up in their faces if it doesn't work well. There's also news that an ex-Pixar animator named Adam Wood has been working on the promos for a new movie that I believe has been licensed. Yeah, Will Ferrell's Gary Sanchez Productions has actually bought the movie and is going to make it. It's called Henchman.
Okay.
I shit you not.
I can already see how this movie is going to end up being.
I don't know. This sounds kind of funny. I sent you guys a link at the Vimeo. It's only 3.5 minutes long.
Oh, yeah, it's starting off high, I think, too.
What, the storm? Or you mean the volcano?
I was looking at the title.
Oh, okay. This sounds pretty nifty to me. It's about a henchman working in a supervillain's lair, but he just spends a lot of time dusting shit.
Supervillain City.
I know. A little on the nose.
Super Screech attack! Fear the Gluttinator! I will eat your world! Sonic!
Guy's a little goofy.
I am Endgame. And this game is over!
It seems like there's more than one animation style going on here.
Yeah, it looks like there's a 3 with the character we're looking at, and just a lot of still backdrops. Oh wow, that's actual real animation.
Real animation?
Yeah, like hand drawn shit. Or at the very least, Flash. Oh, this is bad.
Look way too happy to be in that suit.
Huh? Why are you flashing?
Oh, suit's durable.
Awesome. Yeah.
Why are you flashing?
Actually, it might be all be the same thing. He's took.
Excuse me? Just a janitor, you say? Really?
This
Then how come
almost
I-
reminds me of like cell shaded animation.
Stop melting. Oh no. Oh man.
Oh, wow. Well, at this point, the smartest thing he could do is take that suit and run.
Right?
There is no explaining what's happening in this room. Wow. I've never seen destruction this complete before.
That was close.
Where's the punchline?
There it goes. Oh, great. He opened a gravity vortex.
Oh, fun.
Okay, I can watch this.
Yeah, I've got to see this.
Yeah. It met my expectations. I'll watch it still.
Okay. Well, we discussed the Powers TV show, which is going to be about a former superpowered being and his partner in a police department designed to specifically to handle superpowered being involved crimes and issues. Well, they cast the lead of this. Let me see. The character name is Christian Walker, and it's being cast by Charlton Copley. That's a hard name to say.
Yeah.
I didn't know what his name was prior. Charlton Copley was a guy who played Mad Murdock in the A-Team movie.
Oh.
He also played the villain in Elysium. Or is it Elysium?
Elysium.
Elysium. Okay. He has been cast in the lead role. I actually have high hopes for that. I want to see how that works. Furthermore, we have information on the new Harry Potter theme park that's up at Universal Orlando. It has been so difficult for people to find the entrance that someone has to stand there and tell them where to go.
Really?
Yeah, have you guys seen any video about the place?
No, but does it have anything to do with going through a pillar?
Not specifically. The wall is hidden in such a point that they've created a false front that looks like a London subway station. I sent you guys the link, and the way they've said it is you have to sidestep a pillar and go behind it to find the entrance to the alley. I forget what its name is.
Diagon Alley.
Diagon Alley. Thank you. But apparently it's hidden so well in the shadows back there that people have been walking right by it. You need someone to direct you. And it does look like a simple zigzag walk, but people aren't approaching the building to get in. If you scroll down the photos, it does actually look like it's pretty simple to get to, but only if you're actually looking for it.
Right.
Well, they're keeping in with the spirit of the films.
No, I'm not complaining about that, and no one else is. It was just literally one of those cases where people were walking around looking for it without direction. They weren't sure where to go. They were just walking right by it. There were probably people walking in and out of this Leicester Square station just going, what the fuck? Where is it? So it's nice that they put that much work into it. It's kind of sad that they have to poke through the magic of their own entrance and go, it's right here!
Yeah, you
Kevin
should have
Smith
to be rewarded for finding it at long last.
Here's your wand. Kevin Smith is actually working on a new movie with his daughter, Harley Quinn Smith. It's called Yoga Hosers.
Harley Quinn Smith, is that really?
That's her name. He and his wife agreed to that name a while ago when his wife was sitting in a bathtub reading a Harley Quinn graphic novel he had.
Okay.
His wife, before she was even pregnant, his wife actually mentioned that Harley Quinn is a really nice name for a girl. So her name is Harley Quinn Smith. And her daughter just finds it interesting. But she is, I think, 15, 16 at this point, and she's about to star in her first movie in Yoga Hosers. He's describing it as the superhero movie of his True North trilogy, which starts with his quasi-horror film Tusk, then goes into Yoga Hosers, and then he's working on a third movie called Goose Jaws, which is about a man-eating moose. He calls it Jaws on Land. But this is getting more attention than usual because Harley Quinn is not the only one working on this. The daughter of Johnny Depp is also in the film. Her name is Lily Rose. There's also word that Depp himself may have a role in the film. Oh, actually, he will. The two girls are 15 years old, playing 15-year-olds who team up with a legendary manhunter called Guy Lapointe, played by Johnny Depp. It's spelled out Guy Lapointe, but I'm sure it's supposed to be pronounced Guy since it's a Canadian film. They're fighting an ancient evil with the power of all 7 chakras, quote, one warrior pose at a time, unquote. Oh my god, this is going to be based on yoga.
I think I might pass.
Oh no, if you have a chance, go back and listen to how this whole thing started. There is one episode of Kevin Smith's podcast called Yoga Hosers, where this whole idea was born, and it's fucking hilarious. It was all about a story of this self-styled spiritualist who was very into yoga, who had an ancient, or I should say a cultural artifact in his home and didn't know it. It was stolen from a museum. And at one point they were talking about what it must have been like when the police busted into this guy's house to reclaim it. Because he honestly had no idea what it was. He bought it at a garage sale for like $200. And his friend Scott Mosier just pretends to be the police and is just, as they're describing it, police came to his door and he yells, "Open up, yoga hoser!" And Smith just starts laughing himself stupid, and you can hear him kind of wheeze out, "Yoga hosers, brilliant." Let me see. We already covered the D&D handbook. There's a documentary coming out about Superman Lives.
What?
It's a documentary about the movie Superman Lives. Superman Lives was actually the Superman project Tim Burton was working on not long after his Batman success. He actually put together his version of the Superman costume and put Nicolas Cage in it for test shots for test shots for some reason. I know. They're actually looking to crowdfund the other part of the documentary, and the crowdfunder is over at Fanback. It has 16 days left in it. It only needs $85,000 to finish it, and they're already at $77,046. However, I wouldn't. My problem is though, only at $50, you actually get a copy of Superman Lives. At $60, you get a Blu-ray copy of the documentary. I would need that price point a bit lower for myself. Because as I'm curious as to the story behind this failed project, I don't think it's worth $50 to me.
Yeah.
To me. Let me see. There's a story here about Benedict Cumberbatch as Shere Khan. I know we already touched on that. You see, there's a trailer for a robot action movie that, according to IO9, gets robots right. It's called Automata. Or maybe it's automata.
Automata?
There's several different ways to pronounce this, depending on what English dialect you're using, frankly. Do you want the trailer? It's 2.5 minutes.
Shoot.
Bang. I had to say it sooner or later. Let's see what we got here. It's rated R, so that's a promising start. Oh, Millennium Films.
Halloween. Damn it.
Bunch of bizarre imagery so far.
That was the commercial.
My sister says I'll give birth then.
I don't know why it's subtitled in Spanish.
Sir, we're putting a human life in danger.
Whoa. Nice knife catch.
What is this?
I've never seen this before. This is an altered unit without an owner.
Unit without the second protocol.
Oh, so we have a movie where these robots are upgrading themselves. Potentially.
I'm tracking down some alterations performed on 2 units.
A machine altering itself is a very complex
Melanie Griffith.
concept. Self-repairing implies some idea of a conscience.
Please, sir. Please, sir.
Wow, this is creepy so far.
I like it.
It was staring at me. I shot it because it looked alive.
Was that Antonio Banderas?
I don't recognize him.
It is him, the bald guy.
Then the miracle dissipates.
Oh, you're right.
The epidemic begins. What's going on?
If you want to survive, you must stay with us.
Who else knows about this? Find him and bring him back here.
If we go back to the city, we will die.
Speakers.
To die, you have to be alive first.
Wow.
You're just a machine.
Just a machine? That's like saying that you are just a million.
Okay. This has got my attention.
Yeah.
It looks like what iRobot should have been.
Pretty much.
The movie, not the...
Yeah, iRobot as a movie definitely was
Yeah,
lacking.
Antonio Banderas is, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah, it got my attention pretty well. Let me see. There's a bit of a flap going on right now because there's a new Scooby-Doo movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo Franken Creepy. I've seen it advertised on Cartoon Network, and a lot of the characters in Scooby-Doo are apparently cursed. The reason why there's a bitch going on is because the character of Daphne, who is known as the slim redhead in the series,
Danger prone.
her curse takes her from a size 2 to a size 8. She gets fat. And, this is a curse for her anyway. And a lot of people have fired back, including one. Let me see, where did this come from? A writer named Tom Burns said, quote, "It's sad to think that my daughter can't even watch a cartoon about a dog solving mysteries without negative body stereotypes being thrown in her face," unquote. There are some people saying that being overweight should not be considered a curse. For one, stop taking cartoons so fucking seriously, really.
Yeah, they chose what they feel would be the most comedic thing to afflict the person with.
Well, not only that, I mean, if going from a size 2 to a size 8 is a curse, that's not a matter of, like, fat shaming. That's literally a matter of the character of Daphne being so vain, being fat is her ultimate nightmare.
Yes. People don't
just
have a fucking sense of humor.
Yeah, the character is just that damn shallow. I don't see this as, all fat people are wrong. This is one bitch whose ultimate nightmare is weight.
Yep. I agree.
So, for Christ's sake, people are just looking for excuses to talk about idiotic things, frankly. Warner Brothers responded to it. I'm not going to read it simply because it covers a lot of what we just said. It's all about superficiality as a curse instead of doing something very strange like I don't know, you could do all kinds of stuff that would be considered a curse to a character this self-centered. I mean, turn her into a man, make her lose her boobs. Turn her ugly or something. Although, if you turn her ugly, all of a sudden there would be ugly people saying, that's not a curse. I can tell you from personal experience. Yes, it is. Steven Spielberg is developing a Minority Report TV series.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah, the Philip K. Dick-inspired movie is slowly being turned over for a series. Minority Report may actually be much more interesting as a TV series. As a movie, they didn't deal with a lot of stuff within its, 2.5-hour span.
I still like the movie a lot. I agree they left some out.
I was kind of bored by the film, but, I think part of that had to do with the performance. Tom Cruise was not at his best in that movie.
He's not at his best in a lot of movies.
Well, when he tries to do understated often comes across as dull.
Yeah, he has like 2 facial expressions.
Yeah. But George R.R. Martin has released some news that's going to cause people to worry a lot.
Uh-oh.
It was reported on the Warming Glow that, he joined another author called Robin Hobb for a discussion about their craft in front of a live audience. And somebody asked him about his ability to kill in books.
Oh, I've read this one.
He said, quote, "The way my books are structured, everyone was together, then they all went their separate ways, and the story deltas out like that. And now it's getting to the point where the story's beginning to delta back in, and the viewpoint characters are occasionally meeting up with each other now, and being at the same point at the same time, which gives me a lot more flexibility for killing people," unquote.
He may be just pulling her legs on that, to be honest. Because he likes teasing things.
It could be, but this is also the guy that when people say, are you going to be able to finish the books before the series finishes? And he's the one that says, fuck you. Other people ask him about whether or not he's going to die before the book's ended, to which he says, fuck you. So, he may be pulling our legs, he may not be. He's made it pretty clear that life is cheap in his stories.
Which is good. That's how it is in real life.
I was in good relationships with Joss Whedon.
He killed him. Going on to Marvel comic news, where we talk about the news straight from Marvel Comics. There is the Guardians of the Galaxy is marching forward as a team book, and soon in that book, they're actually going to talk about the origins of the Venom symbiote.
Oh yeah, I heard it.
They've talked about where it came from in comics before with whole planets, but let me see. They said that according to the God, who the fuck is talking here? Brian Bendis talked about it. He says, quote, "I looked it up and I was like, no, there's been a planet where we've seen taken over by symbiotes, but we've not seen the planet of the symbiotes, have we? I called Marvel's Senior Vice President of Publishing, Tom Bevrut. I go, could it be that even in the craziness of the 90s when it was Venom every 5 seconds that this story's never been told?" And he goes, "Yeah, we've never been there." And I'm like, now we have to do it. It's written, unquote. So he's actually going to develop the origin of the Venom symbiote itself.
Or at least its homeworld.
Yeah. Let me see. Also, we've gotten the first look at Miles Morales because he's going to meet the all-new X-Men. The Ultimate Universe is going to get visited by the all-new X-Men somehow, it appears. And part of the preview images involve Jean Grey running by herself into Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man. I don't see that as a good thing necessarily, because the last couple images show her scanning his mind, probably getting a list of everything that's happened in this universe. Galactus coming.
Yeah.
But what's probably going to be more disturbing is the direction a lot of characters take in that universe. She's going to find out there's a lot of dead X-Men out there.
Yeah, I remember her freak out when she realized she died multiple times.
Yeah, well, in this universe, I don't know if she's still alive. I don't think so. But Cyclops is also dead. So's Wolverine, and so's Colossus, and so's Nightcrawler, Dazzler, Angel. There's I think the only recognizable X-Men left in that universe is Kitty Pryde.
It's been a while since I've updated myself with the Ultimate titles, but I do know Jean Grey was ironically still alive.
Yeah, she was in hiding, and I think she was being mind controlled last I checked in. We discussed last week how Spider-Woman is getting her own series for the first time in a long time. An ongoing series, not a miniseries. there are people who are making a flap over a variant cover.
A variant cover?
There's an artist who's known for doing seductive poses. His name is Milo Manara, and people are complaining that Spider-Man would never pose like this. I've taken a look at it, just trying to figure out what exactly they're talking about, and I think it's another case where people are over frickin' reacting. I sent you guys the image. I have seen much worse than that on comic book covers.
The head looks dislocated.
Well, most of the time it has to be. Most heads can't tilt back far enough to get a good view.
I swear I've seen a pose like this on Spider-Man before.
Yeah, no, Spider-Man definitely do like this, but if he's sneaking around.
I think I've seen a pose like this in the World Wrestling Federation, frankly. I don't know. I mean, I've seen Spider-Man take crawling poses like that. I don't know why people are so worried about it. They seem to say that the focus is her rear end. I'm not getting that myself.
I went straight to the face and raised. That's not right. Well, the face is fine. It's just the whole orientation is way off.
Yeah, it looks weird.
It's not the orientation. If you take a look at the way the right arm is down, I think the problem is he didn't lift the left shoulder. There's no counterbalance there.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But yeah, I've seen much worse than this on other comic covers. If you're going to poke a bitch at anything, it's like half the covers J. Scott Gamble did during his early run of Gen 13 was way worse than this. So, man, it just seems like all kinds of people say, this is a bad example for women. How? She's fully clothed. Agreed. She has a full costume, unlike a lot of others.
It's the internet bitching.
Yeah, there was one person in the comment section who just complained, so what, does Spider-Woman fart webs out from under her arms anymore? So it's like, okay, you don't read comics. Those have been there forever. There was some interesting news that Marvel has no plans to add the characters of the Big Hero 6 to any existing comic books right now.
Okay.
Well, I mean, usually when the movie comes out, those characters are about to get a lot of attention, so they end up in the comics, usually before the movie comes out. I did some digging through the article on Yahoo Movies. It turns out that this is not necessarily a Marvel Studios project. This is Disney taking a Marvel property and running with it on their own for a little bit. So there is no current plans to even have them guest star in any other team books right now.
Well, I guess Disney can go to Boom and set them up over there.
I seriously doubt they'd want to do that, but it's just Marvel didn't have any plans for these characters, and I can kind of see why. The last couple series these characters were in fell very flat. I think it's another one of those cases where they tried to get the manga crowd, but the cultural distances were too much for the regular comic crowd. Steve, are you okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, silence is pervasive over there.
Yeah, sorry. My jaw's starting to hurt.
What'd you do to it?
I think it's part of this sinus thing.
The last bit of Marvel comic news I have is that we talked about how Ultron is getting a resurgence in Marvel in 2015 in a story called Avengers Rage of Ultron. It's going to be a graphic novel that fits within the canon. Rick Remender and Jerome Pena are re-teaming in it. One of the bigger news is that one of the central characters is going to be arguably one of the worst Avengers characters of all time, and that's Star Fox. He's getting redesigned for the series. It looks like they've definitely updated his costume. V, I know you're laughing. Star Fox is I believe, a cousin of Thanos from the same planet that he came from, the moon Titan. And his powers are limited super strength, flight, some invulnerability, but the thing that makes him annoying is that he's a cosmic playboy. He emits pheromones that induce people to want to sleep with him.
Ah.
I'm sorry, you said Star Fox, I thought of a Nintendo game.
Oh, he's just a strange character. He had that sweeping style Wolverine haircut that was so pervasive in the 90s. Here's an image from the redesign. And mind you, this redesign is based on his original costume, but it is a step up from what it used to be. I would have to see this on the page, because the idea of Star Fox being awesome is about the same as someone in 1990s telling me Aquaman is going to be awesome. So, you have to prove this to me. We'll move into DC comic news. I'm still following that auction regarding that copy of Action Comics #1 at CGC rated 9.0 with white pages in the interior.
Yep.
Holy shit, man. Whoever's going to have this is going to be a happy person, but they're going to spend to get it. Current bidding still has... It's going to end later today. It ends in 8 hours. Current bid is at $2,250,119.38. It's gone up it's gone up $500,000 since last time we checked into it.
Man, that's one hell of a find.
You think there's going to be bid sniping at the end of this thing?
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
I won't be surprised if it goes up another million or two.
It could. I mean, like we said, there have been people that said, I'll pay $3 million for it right now, just take it off auction, and the guy refused. I don't know if that's ego. I don't know if he's just sitting here going, let's see what happens here. But I also found out that the sale of this comic is going to benefit the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. Whoever's getting the money isn't even keeping the money.
Nice.
Cool.
That's one hell.
It doesn't say if the money is just going to be a percentage, but or if it's going to be the entirety of it.
You know what? I think he's going to take what he for his personal needs and donate the rest. That would be probably a smart thing to do.
Well, we're not going to get any information on the actual owner because the auction itself is being run by Auction Cause. They're a cause marketing and auction management company. So whoever donated this, like I said, I don't know if he's getting a share of it. I would kind of hope so because this is, at this level, it's a damn near one-of-a-kind type of comic book. So, I'm just in awe. It is so rare to find something in this good a condition. Good condition, excuse me. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. We also have information that Superboy has come back in comics, not his evil doppelganger shit. The New 52 has made Superboy so goddamn complicated. But they've brought back the, quote, good Superboy, who is a clone of Clark Kent and someone else.
Lex Luthor?
Maybe this character's name is Con-El. He was killed late last year and he's brought back. But the thing that's making it a little more interesting was that there was a 2-page preview released at the end of Supergirl 33 that may tie into this. And Steve, this is going to be of your attention.
Hmm?
Superboy might be getting a new team in the form of Fairchild, Burnout, Rainmaker, Freefall, and Grunge. All 5 characters are shown in the last 2 pages, and Fairchild was saying that they cleared out a group of clones, which it's kind of hard to tell because all the clones are behind blue-tinted glass on the page. It may be clones of herself, so they may be getting rid of the New 52 version of Fairchild and going with something closer to the original. The costume is definitely much closer, whereas the new version had this almost sport unitard type thing going on. But their version of the other actually, I'll just send you the 2 links so you guys can check this out for yourself. Here is the not splash page. Here is the page that has Fairchild. And as you can see, the costume is an updated version of her original costume. And then here's a splash page featuring the other 4, possibly 5 characters on the team since Superboy is involved. It seems like their mission right now is to wipe out Kryptonians, which is definitely going to bring them headfirst into Superboy. The other reason why people are saying there may be a new Gen 13 book was that the Superboy series has ended recently. So Superboy no longer has a book of his own. If he's going to appear anywhere, he might appear in a team book. I'm not a fan of the art style, so it's hard for me to tell where this book is going. I know that Rainmaker had been appearing in a book that's ended in the last 6 months called The Movement. She's one of the superheroes there. The others had not appeared prior, with the exception of a version of Fairchild in the Ravagers. I do like their version of Freefall, holding up using her powers to hold up a phone for a strange selfie.
Yeah.
It's definitely in line with a modern take of the character. So they have my attention. Will this make me buy? I don't know. I have to see what version of the characters are doing. But speaking of new versions of characters, Power Girl has been removed from the regular DC continuity and sent back to Earth 2.
Yep.
Well, she may not be the one holding that name anymore. I sent you guys another image of a character that used to be in the World's Finest comic book. She was the daughter of Karen's assistant in the regular universe, a 17-year-old named Tanya Spears, who recently seems to have developed powers of her own. And there was a recent issue of World's Finest where not only did she exhibit these powers, but it's been told to her by the, I guess, lawyer of the original Power Girl that she has left her the name of Power Girl.
They spelled Mein Gott wrong.
What?
They spelled Mein Gott wrong.
Really?
Yes, it's supposed to be M-I-E-N.
Oh, fucking editors. There's no real information as to whether or not this Power Girl is going to get a Huntress, but they posted an image of a lenticular cover to Future's End, that annoying effect they used in Villains Month. And I'll send that to you too. It does look like they're changing up the Power Girl costume for this character. No cape, blue jacket. However, if there was a consistent complaint about the Power Girl character, it was the boob window she has in her costume. That whole right cleavage of the character. It looks like they've gone for a more extreme version of that in the black version. There's actually 2 boob holes. I don't know why you would keep that aspect of the costume necessarily. You have a chance to really reinvent the character from the ground up.
Ventilation.
Yeah, you really keep the same the one problem from the original character you've turned up to 11 in the new one. I don't know why you do that.
I have to be honest, there is actually an advantage to having cleavage, at least for me. It literally does keep that area less sweaty and gross.
I get that, but I mean, the design obviously shows 2 there.
Fair.
2 holes.
One
would
the
be second
sufficient.
hole is much lower. Yeah, the original Power Girl tie up on the chest. It's definitely distracting, but it's not one of those cases where unless somebody specifically pulls at it, it's gone. In the case of the new design, she flies too fast and she can end up dangling. I don't know why you do that. I don't know. The last bit of DC comic news I have is that apparently in Multiversity, the new Grant Morrison series is dealing with DC's multiverse. I sat down and read it. The first issue has him going to a world with heroes very similar to Marvel's. I don't know why you picked that as the first world unless Grant Morrison really has a bitch to raise about how Marvel didn't keep the continuity of his new X-Men series.
Or DC's plugging at Marvel.
It could be. I read it, and I would not recommend it to anybody that isn't a heavy DC fan. They dealt with characters I have not seen in years, characters I've not heard of. I couldn't just hand that to anybody and say, "Here, read this. This is a great place to come in." People like, "Here, read this. This will be a reason for you to hate it within minutes." I was minorly lost, let alone in one of the side pictures where let me see if I can describe this. There's a character called... There used to be a group of things called the Monitors, which was like DC's version of the Watcher, right?
Okay.
The last Monitor died, and he had the name of Super Judge. And he was wandering around with a talking monkey, and he got himself captured, killed. I'm not quite sure how the story goes. So he had an emergency protocol where he drew in characters from across the multiverse powerful enough to take on issues he can't get to, since he's been removed. That included a black Superman, an Aquawoman from another universe, Captain Carrot, and all these others that I don't have a vested interest in. One thing I did notice that was kind of interesting was they had this black Superman allegory character called Bloodwind, who I think had vampiric powers. Although, as somebody pointed out to me, do you really want a name that makes it sound like you're having a bloody fart? So I couldn't recommend Multiversity to you guys, even for fun, because you would be lost in an instant. I had trouble following. Let me see. We have some general comic news, and both of it is Comic-Con related. First off, they have announced the dates as the next convention at July 8th through July 12th. July 8th being preview night. There is some problems with the expansion to the San Diego Convention Center. There's a recent court ruling that the hotel tax meant to finance a $520 million project is unconstitutional. So the convention center needs to find new ways to back the project or put the tax to a citywide vote. Comic Comic-Con International's Director of Marketing, David Glanzer, said, quote, "We knew as early as 2006 that we would run out of space at the current facility. Since that time, the mayor, city officials, hoteliers, and the convention center staff have worked to help us address our space concerns. We trust those entities will continue to work with us in welcoming thousands of people to San Diego," unquote. So it sounds hopeful that there will be work done on it. I just can't say where it'll go. And the article points out that if construction begins soon, city officials and construction contractors express concern over how the construction would impact the convention itself, which is primarily the space they plan on expanding to is where the Hall H line is currently. But it said that they do have ideas to make the whole thing doable so the convention isn't impacted too much. They may move the line to Embarcadero Marina Park, which is that jutting park where, if I remember correctly, the San Diego Symphony Orchestra usually is. It's something that's going to bear some watching. You know, if the expansion stalls out, there may be some serious issues. I've heard that there's a counter proposal where the people running the Chargers want to put up a new stadium and use that with some kind of weird land bridge to be an expansion to the convention center. I don't know if you want people stomping around your stadium and your grass like that.
You should just build an official place.
But you think Comic-Con should build its own building?
Like, model it after something, or, you know, make it kind of almost quasi-resort out of it. That way they could make money off of it when they're not having a con.
I think it's more likely that San Diego would come up with the money, though, because building something of that size would take probably hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, that's fair.
Years to put together.
Yeah.
Maybe not now, but in 20, 30 years from now.
Well, we also found out that you do need your badge from 2014 to pre-register for 2015. There's a code at the bottom of your 2014 badge you need to get into the pre-sale at the very least. Regular registration won't happen until early next year, but it's said that the pre-sale for 2015, for those who went to 2014, may actually occur this fall. I'm getting some emails for sure that seems to point to that.
And Steve, didn't we get? You tell me it's starting like around the 15th next month.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you get that from? I haven't heard that.
It was released on their backer information.
Huh. Well, I mean, if they're going to do the pre-sale then, I'll be paying attention. Unfortunately, they have confirmed, though, that there won't be sales for people who didn't attend until next year. So we're, you know, even if we manage to get everything we need for ourselves, we're still going to have to go back in there and help other people get in.
Hmm. Wait, no. I'm talking about Pathfinder. What are we talking about?
Wow. Comic-Con pre-reg?
I have no idea where you got that I said that. I said Pathfinder starts September 15th.
Okay, never mind.
Okay. Watch your emails. We'll move into anime and Japan news. I'm trying to tamp down some of the debauchery news that comes out of Japan because it's just too regular. It's kind of depressing. I do have the first English trailer for Studio Ghibli's Tale of Princess Kaguya. I've not actually seen this myself. You guys want that, or?
Go for it.
Sure.
Okay. Here it is. It's only 59 seconds. Oh, I didn't know it went to the Toronto International Film Festival. Has a very scratchy animation style.
I like it. By scratchy, you mean hand-drawn looking.
Yes. Yeah.
Might just be stylized, but...
Oh, actually, I've seen the Japanese trailer to this film. I didn't realize it was the same one. It's an interesting style. It's not what I'm used to when I think anime, though. Seeing her shed like 8 layers of that kimono is a little weird. I know it is layered that much. It's just weird to watch. So I don't think this is a Miyazaki film at all. This doesn't have the same feel. Oh, there it is. Isao Takahata is the guy who did this. Interesting. It has to do with a, let me see, found inside a shining stalk of bamboo by an old bamboo cutter and his wife. A a tiny girl grows rapidly into an exquisite young lady. The mysterious young princess enthralls all who encounter her, but ultimately she must confront her fate and the punishment for her crime. Interesting.
Vague.
Well, the old bamboo cutter is being played by James Caan. The wife is Mary Steenburgen. Princess Kaguya herself is being played by Chloe Grace Moretz. That young lady is getting busier and busier. I have probably the strangest contest I ever heard of. Tokyo had a contest for the cutest JK.
Say what?
JK, middle school girl.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, high schoolers. JKs are high schoolers. JCs are middle schoolers. Wow. They're I don't know. These are not my type of people. I will send you a link.
No.
No, there it is. Because I want other opinions besides mine, but these are not people I consider attractive personally. Maybe it's just the photos and bad lighting. That first picture is very unflattering.
Just look like people, not especially.
The contest was supposed to be for the cutest high schooler, though, and not what I think of.
Well,
They all look like
apparently
models.
they're all gyarus, which is the tan skin Western looking. Yeah.
Not my speed.
Cutest gyaru type first year high schooler.
Oh yeah, they're
Well, the
trying
overall-
to look. Yeah, okay.
The overall winner was Akiem Kui, who listed her charm point as her fangs.
Yeah, that's been a thing with tsundere characters and whatnot. They get fangs.
Well, hers or her incisor is definitely poking out way too far. These people are not my speed. That's all I can really say. I do have an article here about 12 anime outfits that defy the laws of physics.
I've yet to click. I've seen an article. I've yet to click on it because I'm afraid of what I'm going to see.
Well, number one is kind of a dub point. The first costume is Ryuko from Kill la Kill. That doesn't even need to be said.
Yeah.
The second one kind of surprised me because they listed Orochimaru from Naruto. The article on IO9 pointed mostly to the gigantic rope bow behind him that gravity would just not allow to occur. Which is true. Unless you tied that thing super tight, that would not happen. 3 I need help with because they list Miyu from History's Strongest Disciple, Kenichi.
And what about her?
According to them, no matter how much these clothes are destroyed, or even pieces no longer connecting to anything, they are still 100% skin tight.
Yeah.
That is unlikely. Number 4 was Krahe from Princess Tutu, where it looked like she wore just a black tutu and 2 neckties on her torso. 5 was interesting. They listed Zero from Code Geass. Mostly they remarked on his cape and how it seemed so starchy it could stand upright and completely immobile. They said, or it's regular fabric that can blow in the wind. You cannot either have the giant gravity-defying color or you can have the ridiculous cape that makes Thor's cape look realistic. You cannot have both.
That is untrue.
I've seen cosplayers. Number 6 was any character from Strike Witches.
Never seen it.
Oh, they have. Yeah, I know. I've seen pictures.
They wear schoolgirl tops, bloomers, and their legs are covered by some kind of
prop,
mechanical propeller device.
Yeah, that allows on flight.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's techno magic. It looked like technology, but magic is involved, so the legs girls don't snap or the jets tear the wearers apart. It's bizarre. Number 7 is Charlotte Kunihore from Bleach.
Who?
Charlotte Kunihore from Bleach. Well, I don't quite know how to describe the character because I've never seen Bleach. I will just send you a link. It is not something I can imagine anybody wearing, even at conventions.
Yeah, that was the thing that.
Oh, fuck me!
This was the image that was there. The thumbnail they displayed on the article, which is why I never clicked on the damn thing.
I don't even know how to describe it. It's like Madame Butterfly was crossed with a Chippendales dancer.
God, why did I...
Oh, brain bleach.
Jeremy, you're a bad man.
Why am I a bad man? I didn't write the damn thing.
No, but you decided to share.
I just can't describe it. Number 8 is Ezra from Fairy Tail. It involves a lot of armored wings that seems like they would probably cause the person to fall over backwards.
Well, considering your clothing is magical costume,
They just said physics defying. Number 9 is kind of cute because they say the Nine-Tails Chakra.
Defying.
Yeah, 9 is Nine-Tails Chakra Mode Naruto. The quote from IO9 says it all. Quote, "So I'm pretty sure Naruto is just completely on fire in this outfit. Good luck pulling that off, cosplayers." Unquote. Number 10 is Abel from Trinity Blood. I'm not familiar with this series.
Trinity Blood, that was...
Sounds like a vampire thing.
Well, they said that part of the reason why they said this is hard is because of this gold metallic collar he's wearing, the inexplicable buckles on the side of his cape. If nothing else, you can rest assured only a deity could create collars so enormous and bizarrely wide that you could actually set beverages on them. Number 11 is Harabel from Bleach.
Who?
Mm-hmm.
Harabel. Like I said, I don't watch the series, so I don't know. I will send you the link. They say the problem is that she has a top that only covers half her chest, and then no matter how open it is, her chest still stays together and perky. There's nothing about this physics should actually be able to contain, as they put it. They call it like a bra from the mirror universe.
It apparently pulls things up.
No, that would not work. You need support under them.
Yeah. The last one they say is just Kira from Gundam Seed, and the only reason they list him is because he has something like suspenders holding his sleeves to his shirt.
Huh?
I think they just say it's ridiculous. Last bit of anime in Japan news. They asked 10,000 anime fans in Japan to tell them which series got them involved in anime. Which ones turned them into a fan. They have 30 series here. The 30th one was Puella Magi Madoka Magica.
You guys are sick fucks.
Yeah. Let me see notables. Doraemon was number 27. Free was number 23. Naruto hit at 22. Space Battleship Yamato was at 19. Let me see. Dragon Ball's at 15. Cardcaptor Sakura was 13. Attack on Titan was 12. Holy fuck.
Sick fucks.
I have the top 10. At 420 votes, Clannad. 450 votes was Kuriko's Basketball. 465 votes was his Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya.
That one's bizarre.
Yeah, 492 votes is Sailor Moon. 536 votes is One Piece. 552 votes, Neon Genesis Evangelion. 645 votes was kind of a surprise to me, Gintama. No. 666 votes is K-On! 678 votes, number 2, Sword Art Online.
Nice.
The top series that got people into anime, according to this 10,000, is 746 votes.
Ninja Scroll.
A certain magical index series.
Oh,
really?
Okay.
Yeah.
I did like that one. Light novel. The anime was not quite as good.
Okay. Well, we have some nerd interest news here, where we talk about the nerdy things we see across the internet that don't quite fit into the other categories. Somebody got engaged over BioShock.
Really?
How?
Yeah.
Okay, did they meet the person or perform? Okay, they met. Never mind. Go on. I just remembered that there was a multiplayer BioShock, and I was confused.
Okay. Well, the lady in question, or the guy in question, is Stevie Copius. Okay, hang on. I'm sorry. The lady in question is Stevie Copius. She was asking about BioShock games, and the guy behind the counter, her boyfriend, is Justin Starnes, and he gave her a copy she hadn't seen before that he said was much better in a video game. He asked her if she'd seen a copy of it, knew of it, and he handed her something she'd never heard of called BioShock New Beginnings. On the back of the case were 4 pictures of the couple together, in addition to the usual words that make it look like a video game. She opened it up. She got into the manual, and in the controls, one of the triggers says "Go to Caterpillar Den." Another one says "Work on novel." Eat with George and Rhett. have existential conversation about the apocalypse. One button allows you to go to AT&T. Another one allows you to say the word fuck. One says watch The Walking Dead. One says play Xbox. If you hit the start button, it says start your life with Justin Starnes.
Aww.
And then when she turned over the booklet, it says on the back, "Will you kindly marry me?"
Aww. That's adorable.
So, he came up with some, and then after she read that, he handed her a pretty freaking big ring. It's actually rather impressive, where she has very small hands. It's a cute idea.
He had to have known she was going to go for that, I would hope.
Oh, man, if not, that was a hell of a Hail Mary. Alright, here's something that you would like, V. There's, observers have seen mysterious shifting lights near a huge black hole. The nuclear
Spaceship or anomaly?
I'm guessing anomaly. The agency, a NASA agency's Nuclear Spectroscopic Telescope Array Probe, or NuSTAR, looked on as a mysterious X-ray source called a corona moved closer to a supermassive black hole.
Nice.
So, for all we know, it's a spaceship crumbling, I guess. The closer it came, it stretched and blurred the X-ray light in the process. The corona recently collapsed toward the black hole.
So it could be anything.
It could be. I don't know what they mean by corona, though. For all I know, that could have been just a bunch of X-rays around the black hole that was eventually swept inside.
A corona... Well, hold on, let me pull up the definition.
Well, I know the concept of a corona. I just don't know what exactly they refer to by a corona. Something that had been in orbit around the hole, something that had been swept into it, and they just see the corona of a small object. I don't know.
Well, okay, so it's apparently the rarefied gaseous envelope of the sun and other stars, so...
Maybe there used to be a star out there.
So the stuff that surrounds a star, they saw that. Or in this case, a black hole.
Yeah. Well, that's not the only spacey story we have. There was a scientific error that delayed the search for alien life a while ago.
Oh?
Yeah, it's not very specific as to what that search was, but it says here, 20th century scientists rejected the idea that astronomers believe the solar system is formed in nebular clouds throughout the universe. So because the 20th century scientists rejected that idea, they argued that the solar system was an aberration among stars, so they didn't try to look for life in the early 20th. So, all because of a mistake, they kind of delayed our search for life in the universe.
Hey, we have a person.
Yep. I'm here too.
Yeah, their internet came back quietly. I didn't know there's a comet that people have been following. The Churyumov I'm having trouble pronouncing this. Churyumov Gerasimenko. They call it the Rubber Ducky Comet.
Okay.
Well, that's a lot easier than the first one.
Well, the spacecraft Rosetta has been exploring, and a lot of people are treating it like not a big deal. Then they sent out this size comparison. Here's a scale image of it potentially on the ground. I think it's being compared to Houston.
Oof.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That'll create a nuclear winter.
Well, fortunately, it's not in danger of crashing towards Earth. It's just something a spacecraft's been flying around, and people have been deriding it because they think it's small. Turns out this is a massive piece of real estate. It is the city of Houston, for crying out loud. And all the ground underneath it.
It looks like a big boot.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Actually, it does, yeah. It looks like a giant anime boot. There was also a poll that was put out on Deadspin recently regarding what's a sport and what's not. I wanted to bring this up because we talked about some people wanting to make video gaming a sport in the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say what percentage of people... Well, it gives a base estimate of what percentage of people would call a bunch of things a sport. Boxing, nearly 100%. Lacrosse is about 97%. Water polo is about 96%. Track and swimming, 95%. And it goes on from there. Most of it has to do with, Olympic sports, because I don't think people are going to question things like baseball or football or soccer and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Oddly enough, about 76% of people would call dodgeball a sport. Jala lie. I don't know what that is. About 75%. Goes further down. About 67% of people would call roller derby a sport.
Roller derby, I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the lower end, the lowest thing to be called a sport, at about 11%, poker.
That's not a sport.
That's not a sport. That's strategy.
I would say that's a game. That's not a sport.
Yeah,
exactly.
Game, yes.
Oddly enough, 15% of people would call competitive eating a sport. Don't ask me. And it's.
I think that honestly is the thing that people have difficulty with is they feel it's competitive and that makes it a sport, but that's not really.
That's
so.
not. Yeah, that's not the essence.
I think it has more.
Sportliness.
Yeah, I think it has more aspects of a sport, but it's still not quite what I would call a sport. It's not quite the person versus person physical challenge I would call a sport.
Right.
More than competitive eating, at about 18%, people would call chess a sport.
What?
I would say it's more of a sport than competitive eating.
I know. Competitive eating is more of a sport than chess.
There's a lot more physicality in competitive eating.
Well, the thing is, video gaming fell at fourth from the bottom at this list at about 24%. It looked like people would call competitive video gaming, a sport.
I would agree that most video gaming is not a sport in any way.
Yeah, well, I think that's the reason why they created the term e-sport, because it's not a normal sport, it's an electronic sport.
Yeah, right. I would say even if you're playing Wii Sports, it's not a sport.
Mm-mm.
It fell in just behind, it looks like 29% here for both fishing and hunting. Both of those I would call more of a sport than video gaming, chess, competitive eating, or poker for sure.
It's definitely a sport, depending on how you look at it. I don't know if it's a sport that could be eligible for, Olympics kind of sport, but...
I would say no. No. Engineers unfolded the James Webb Space Telescope's spine in the world's largest clean room. They want to deck it with mirrors, and get it ready for both powering and for viewing. It's a large undertaking. I've never seen anything quite like this. Must be a pain in the butt to work in this kind of clean room, though. It's going to be the primary support structure for the spacecraft in 18 segments for a 21-foot diameter primary mirror. Boy, I don't even know what the viewable range on this is going to be.
Huge.
After testing is done, Pathfinder is going to go out to Johnson Space Center in Houston. So it'll go more engineering tests and probably drop it to very cold temperatures to test how it'll function in space. Here's an interesting bit of news. I'm a fan of Game of Thrones, and in that they have a villainous character they call the Mountain Who Rides Horses. The Mountain Who Rides. Yeah, it's being played by a man called Hapvor Bjornsson. He's also known as Thor. That's his nickname, Hapvor Thor Bjornsson. And the thing, he is a very big man. He's 6'9", 420 pounds. He's a native of Iceland. And here's the thing that's going to make this special and why it's nerdy interest news. He just became the strongest man in Europe.
Really?
Like he completed some competition or something?
Yeah, he won 4 out of 6 strength competitions. Deadlift, yoke, forward hold, also known as Thor's hammer, and the giant dumbbell for reps at 100 kilograms, Atlas stones, and the loading race.
Nice.
He competed at all of those. He didn't win the deadlift, but he did place in the top 5. He lifted nearly half a ton. The best event was the Atlas stones, where he lifted 6 stones of increasing weight onto barrels. Apparently no one's even come close to that before. He also won the dumbbell press at 220 pounds, above his head with one arm 7 times.
Shit.
I am not even going to pretend I can do that.
Wow.
Yeah. And he said after he won, quote, "I am the future of strength. I am the king of the stones. I dare you to tell him no."
No, but I'm safely on the other side of the internet.
True.
There have been there are new tests regarding organ transplants. A genetically altered pig heart survived more than a year inside a baboon. A pig heart modified to express human genes survived more than a year grafted to the inside of a baboon's abdomen. I don't know if that meant that the heart was just static in there and survived that long. I don't know if that means they actually transplanted the heart with the baboon to see if it could handle the stress. But apparently it did exist for a year in there. That's interesting, although I imagine there's going to be a lot of people protesting from PETA to,
Yeah.
probably some very fundamentalist organizations.
Frustrates me.
Tell them to sit on rotate.
Well, it's one of those things that everyone is likely to protest until they actually need the tech. Once they need it, a lot of voices change. And, it's not something I'm going to dive into because there's debates both ways. It's just one of those things that's a scientific advancement for sure. Its ethics and moral implications, very subjective.
I try not to get into ethical debates.
Okay. And the last bit of nerd interest news I have is that NASA's releasing doves into orbit.
Doves?
No.
Yeah, no, it is not. They're not replaying John Woo movies in space. Let me explain. Doves are microsatellites designed to provide rapid whole Earth satellite images.
Okay. I was
So
going to say, that seems a little cruel.
Yeah, there's already a bunch of them in orbit, and they've just released a few more to add to the network. This was done on August 19th between Alex Gurst and Reed Weissman, two astronauts currently in space. They've released a couple vines and everything. The first satellites were actually released in January of this year, so this has been going on for quite a while. The satellites are laser etched even with custom artwork as part of an effort to meld art and science in a matter that can survive harsh environments. I don't know if that's necessarily needed. But the satellite were part of a 3,300-pound science and supply payload brought to the International Station by the Cygnus cargo vehicle in July. 16 out of the 28 of the latest series of CubeSats will be deployed from the station. Destroyed makes it sound like they got a Moonraker laser on there or something. And lastly, we have our What the Fuck corner, where we just talk about those funny what the fuck stories from across the internet. I actually held on to some. I didn't know if you wanted the other half of it. Do you want the second part of the Star Wars New Friday?
I
Not now?
I'm on the fence right now about that.
Let me see. Okay, then we'll turn to the world's most pierced man who was turned away from Dubai. I don't know why you do this to yourself. He says the world's most pierced man was not allowed to enter the United Arab Emirates because of his appearance and suspicion that he's involved in black magic. He has 453 piercings on his body. His name is Rolf Buchholz. And, I don't know. I think Dubai is an Arab state, so they probably have some religious type rules regarding this. I admit, though, looking at this picture, the man is hard to look at. I sent you guys an image link. What he's done to his lip. Like his mustache made out of beads.
That's.
I don't think I'm going to click on that
disturbing.
image.
Yes, very.
It's weird to look at. It's almost hypnotic, and it doesn't help that he's staring straight into the camera. Oh. Is he smiling?
I can't tell.
It's hard
Yeah,
to
I'm not
tell.
sure if he's
It's
smiling.
it's almost like a Joker smile.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to turn that off now because I don't need that in my brain anymore. There's a Florida woman who ripped off her grandmother's bra then robbed her. Bridget Matsky is 25 and her husband is a 26-year-old named Alex Caldwell. They were out of Port Orange, Florida. And police responded to a 911 call reporting screaming and banging coming from the house. They found the 84-year-old victim, Ida Matsky, sitting on her stoop and crying. Now, what apparently occurred is that at 9:40 p.m., Bridget Matsky and her husband went to her grandmother's home and demanded $80 to spend the night at a hotel. Then when the woman said no, Matsky grabbed her grandmother, ripped off her bra, twisted her wrists, and stole jewelry after her grandmother refused to give her money.
The fuck?
I don't know.
People.
The suspects fled with $1,900 in stolen jewelry and a cell phone. Just after midnight, a local deputy spotted the pair's car at a gas station in South Daytona, and arrested them.
Good.
Caldwell, the husband, was removed from the vehicle and arrested. Matsky was arrested hiding behind the men's bathroom of the gas station. This is some sad people. We'll go from the sad to the sublime. Houdini apparently had an extreme workout regimen.
I bet.
In his extracurricular activities, to get his swimming fix and running a 10-mile circuit in Central Park was an effortless feat for him. He tried out for the U.S. Olympic swim team as a teen, and he didn't make the cut. By 17, he was already an amateur boxer. By the time he turned 18, he'd beaten a British racing champion in a 20-mile race named Sidney Thomas. Holy cow, dude, this sounds like the first Batman.
Sadly enough.
He was very serious in his training. He had a custom giant bathtub built in his house and installed so he could practice holding his breath underwater. By 18, he could stay submerged for almost 4 minutes. Then, when he wanted a talent, he'd fill it with ice so he could get used to plunging himself into frigid water. This man was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Then he would get really weird. He would tie a string to a small potato, swallow it, and regurgitate it.
What?
He was practicing regurgitation, probably for the key he would usually spit out of his mouth to get out of the blocks.
Yeah. Makes sense.
He once trained his stomach muscles to puke up objects on command. He moved on to swallowing things like keys and lockpicks. Holy cow.
Fascinating. I didn't know it was possible to do that.
Disgusting, disturbing, and yet fascinating. It's like watching a train wreck.
Okay, how about... Then from there, we'll get into the stupid. There are people who are getting into cars at random all over the U.S. You want to know why?
Yeah.
Yes, that was
Context,
on my...
please.
Because people are mistaking these average drivers for Uber and Lyft drivers.
For
Uber and Lyft are two systems that people who have regular cars can use them like cabs. So there's people standing on corners hailing cabs or something to drive them around, and when some people pull over just to gather their thoughts or pick up a friend or something, strangers are getting in their car thinking that Uber just picked them up.
I had that happen to me once.
I had a friend that happened to, but he was driving, an old taxi, so...
There's a tweet here by a lady named Jamie Coletta who said, "Tonight marked the second time a random person has tried to get in my car because they thought I was an Uber driver. The second time." Another man named Louis Patesman tweeted, "Are you Lyft? Oh my God, you're not," the woman who got in my car said while I was trying to park. So apparently there's some issues developing.
Yeah.
Shouldn't their cars be, really clearly marked?
I don't think they are because they're private vehicles. I don't even think there's stickers or graphics added to the vehicle.
I think it's like
then
it's like a bunch of volunteer work.
Not volunteer, you get paid for it, but still, you got to sign up with the service to do it.
Yeah.
I still think you should have to have a sticker or something.
You would think so, but I guess that's not how it works. Jamie and Emily Farrow are newlyweds from Lincolnshire, England. They had their nuptials on August 1st, and they handed the keys of their home over to friends to look after their cats while they were on honeymoon. Mm-hmm. They were away for a few days, and when they returned from a holiday in Italy, their friends had covered their house in 14,000 Post-it notes.
Wait, what?
What?
The interior first floor of their home was covered in 14,000 Post-it notes, completely covering not just the appliances, not just the cabinets, but the floor and the tile work as well.
That's a prank.
Yeah, that's a good prank.
The quote from the couple is, quote, "Our living room has got glass panels in the door so we could see as soon as we got inside what they'd done. And then we saw the camera. The notes were all over the living room walls and everything. I think that in a few weeks we'll still be finding the odd one about."
I want to know what's on the Post-it notes.
Well, it had taken their friends 8 hours to pull off this act. As for what the mischief makers had to say about it, they let the notes speak for themselves, with a message left on the television that read, "So sorry." The Chinese government, we've discussed how sometimes stories in China take on a life of their own. There was a joke story that read that the Ebola virus is mutating and creating zombies. Unfortunately, the Chinese government news has taken that and run with it. As Quartz reports, Xinhua promised readers that contrary to chatter on the internet, Ebola is not a zombie disease, but the agency's attempt to allay readers' fears of reanimation actually isn't particularly reassuring. Quote, an Ebola sufferer may lose consciousness or faint, making him or her appear dead. But a few hours or even days later, the patient may suddenly come to and enter an extremely violent state, tearing and biting at anything that moves, including people or animals, unquote. Now, the people have said that it's possible for Ebola sufferers to come out of sleep and have a violent episode where they're hallucinating, but, the way the government portrays it, it sounds like zombies are just waking up and staring at people.
Good job,
That is not
China.
going to be helpful. Would you like to see that Japan has the saddest jumbo-sized McDonald's colas ever?
What?
Japan has the saddest jumbo colas ever.
Oh.
These are made for people who are either very cheap or bad dates. I sent you guys a link.
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah.
What am I looking at?
They have colas designed to share.
Oh, okay.
Which is not very helpful when you consider the social implications. Okay, maybe you have a cola big enough to share, but you're a cheap bastard. Or you have a giant cola with only one straw in it, so you're a sad bastard.
Hey, I can never even finish the damn Smalls, so I would be all for this.
This is just one of those things that I can see why they did it, but at the same time, this could go so horribly, horribly, horribly wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't see that two people could use it at the same time without colliding some heads.
Bendy straws.
Oh, that's true.
I don't even have words for that. Let me see. An anti-evolution bill in Ohio almost included a ban on Aristotle.
What?
They had legislation introduced to their House of Representatives that, if passed, would rewrite the state's education standards by encouraging teachers to teach, quote, both sides of the, quote, debate on evolution and climate change. An initial draft of the bill would have banned major works of thought and literature, including Aristotle.
I read a great article I wish I could make everybody read that was like, if you can't believe in evolution, you either understand it or you don't. It was written much better than that summary, but
It's one of those things that makes me uncomfortable. We need a simple standard across the U.S. as far as teaching.
I agree.
The state-to-state thing is bothering me because there's so many different versions of stuff being taught that eventually states may end up ceding from each other simply because we can't talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kevin Sorbo, I am highly disappointed in.
Oh, what do you do?
TV's Hercules. He recently starred in a strange movie called God Is Not Dead, where he plays an extreme atheist teacher who yells and belittles at people that have religious viewpoints. That's bizarre in and of itself, but I can dismiss that as maybe he's fallen on hard times and just really needs money, and the bad role is what presented itself. Then he went and started tweeting about the whole problem in Ferguson, the Mike Brown shooting. He wrote on his Facebook, quote, Ferguson riots have very little to do with the shooting of the young man. It is an excuse to be the losers that these animals truly are, unquote.
He needs to be careful what he says.
He also said, quote, and this is what sounds the most racist to me, quote, it is a tipping point to frustration built up over the years of not trying, but blaming everyone else, the man, for their failures. It is always someone else's fault when you give up, unquote. That's very thinly veiled.
Yeah, I mean, I get what he's trying to say, but it is poorly worded.
Yeah. He adds that Michael Brown's death is somehow, quote, a reminder to the African Americans, parentheses, I always thought we were just Americans, oh well, end parentheses, that their president they voted in has only made things worse for them, not better, unquote. Now, he removed all these comments. He removed all these comments and gave one of those apologies. It just says, quote, I'm sorry to everyone I offended, unquote. Which basically means says, I ain't sorry for nothing. You're just an idiot. I mean, political views are political views. They're always going to be as different as the frickin' rainbow. But that really seems just aimed specifically at black people.
Yeah.
So that's sad because that makes me not want to watch any of his projects anymore.
Mm.
And that's a bunch of insulting stuff. Okay, I know that Steve and Jesse are not Game of Thrones fans, but there is a video here where somebody replaced all the audio in the scenes of Game of Thrones, including some of the most violent battles, with 8-bit MIDI sounds.
Awesome.
I sent you guys a link. The Street Fighter music, oh my freaking god. This is almost painful. Love the supreme victory.
Uppercut. Humiliation.
You think you guys just saw the dwarves?
Level up.
The babality is a little sick.
Babality? Did I really just hear that?
Yes, you did. It makes something funny that was never meant to be funny. Who's making that groaning sound?
Fatality. Choose your destiny.
Sonic boom.
What is making that laughing sound? Definitely a different spin, I would say. That was an enjoyable little distraction. I have seen graffiti in several different respects. I have not seen graffiti like there's been in Russia recently. There's a Soviet monument that has been defaced, and they're blaming Bulgarians for this. It's a Soviet monument to obviously some of the times during their revolution and when Russia became a Soviet state. Some artist decided to paint over all these. He's been known to do this. And what he's done is he turned a monument to the Soviet military and turned it so it looked like an Army Man toy, the Joker, Wolverine, Santa Claus, Superman, Ronald McDonald, Captain America, Wonder Woman, and Robin are in the monument instead. Not only did they do that, but it looks like he painted the Soviet flag, so it looks like an American flag. I have no idea what kind of statement he's trying to make here. It just looks. I don't know what the heck this is about. It's funny as hell, though, and I don't know if he did this in a night. If he did, he had help. I know that Star Wars started some problems in Alaska.
Oh.
Yeah, there was an unidentified object spotted on the side of the road in the Mendenhall Valley in Alaska, and it was reported to police as a suspicious device. It escalated fast. They sent out an explosive ordnance disposal unit to investigate it, because it was a cylindrical object. When they picked it up, it turns out it was a plastic lightsaber handle.
You suppose it's the ones that are going to return Luke?
I don't know. The story on IO9 was kind of funny because it asked, did they find a severed hand nearby? And if you want truly odd, there is a 3D printed brand you can get to mount to a Bic lighter and create a Batman Begins brander. You can use a lighter to heat this metal and brand objects with it. I don't think I want to give this kind of power to people.
No.
It's a very simple device. You can get it for $30.60. It's intended for, quote, branding Batmanish trade dress on your school stuff, clothes, books, furniture. It does say it's not for pets or people, but oh my god, I could see people using it just for that purpose.
Yeah.
You know, grown people cannot be trusted with lighters. I wouldn't want kids to have this at all. Last bit of WTF news I have is kind of a callback to a prior WTF we had. You guys remember a long time ago, probably about 3 months ago, we talked about funny glitches that happen in the UFC video game?
Yeah.
We went through like a 3-minute video where it was just the weirdest frickin' things I'd ever seen. Part 2 has appeared. I sent you guys a link. I love how at the beginning of it they say that the game is awesome and it doesn't glitch very often and these instances are very rare. I would still argue it happens so often you put together 2 videos about it.
Aldo with the flying knee. Ow! Jose Aldo! He knocked
And the first strange video we see is a guy that looked like he knocked someone out with his crotch.
Right in the face, Joe.
You guys seen the video already?
Yep. I'm seeing it.
Hey, I don't know what is happening on the ground to this character. His legs are twitching like crazy, his wrists are moving, the rest of him is not.
Fans at home that are maybe new to the sport isn't allowed to kick him in the balls that much, Joe. Only if he's been completely frozen for several minutes, Mike. Joe, why is it that Cat Zingano is so hard to shake here?
If something like this happened to me, I would be laughing so hysterically I couldn't play the game.
Grudge-like Joe, and Conor McGregor is completely unaffected by this onslaught by Bruce Lee, Joe. He's got a hell of a chin, Mike.
I can't believe this guy is frozen here while he's just getting decked in the face. What is happening here?
Cat Zingano moving forward, and Liz Carmouche is thrown in the air by a demonic force. You're scrambling, looks like Uriah's got the upper hand. Uriah Faber's wearing him around like a backpack. It's a bad position, Mike. Backpacks go through a lot of wear and tear. He was able
I wonder what coding causes this guy to get stuck to the back of another.
Uriah going for a submission. What are his options, Joe? I see 13 different backpack-related submissions here.
This is so damn confusing.
Himself, and he's out. Chris Weidman trying to spawn a second Chris Weidman. He's having some trouble getting detached. And he's out, Joe. Yeah, but that second Chris Weidman looks broken, Mike. He might have to start again. The start of round 2. Scott Jorgensen should not have had that fifth of vodka between rounds. Did not pay off, Joe. Alexis Davis and Cat Zingano in an intense breakdance battle. These moves are straight sick, Joe. Mike,
what in the heck is happening to these female avatars? That wrist is amazing.
Cat Zingano! Joe, break down the replay. Cat is pretending to sleep. She's so embarrassed by Alexis's moves, and there's no coming back from that. Alexis Davis was indeed served, Joe.
I don't know who's playing the announcers, but their ideas of commentary are pretty genius.
Right?
Look at how calm that cameraman is.
And now you have some guy who somehow ended up outside the ring for no reason.
Trying to get back into the cage. It looks like he possibly forgot how to walk or use his arms, Joe. Yeah, he's trying to, but cages are tough. You know, you're sitting here watching this at home, you're like, why did he climb up the cage? It's not like that.
It's the most bizarre glitch I've ever seen.
He can't just phase through the fencing. And he is phasing through the fencing, Joe. And TJ Dillashaw has done it again, Joe. Mike, there's a Bigfoot. He's being strangled, Mike. John Dodson is taking some huge shots from Cub Swanson.
Sorry. Saw the part where a character was apparently being strangled by Bigfoot.
Mario Yamasaki is going to need to stop this fight. Joe, I'm being told by someone in the truck that John Dodson has become immortal.
Phasing through the fencing.
Yes.
You have to admire his spirit, though, Joe. He is throwing everything he has at John Dodson, who, if you're just joining us, has become some sort of godlike creature. I don't know, Dodson's got him down. Mario Yamasaki needs to stop this.
Sorry, I'm watching two guys straight punch each other repeatedly in the head, and nothing's ending.
Well, what an incredible matchup. I have to think this is going the distance, and he's dead. My mistake.
Oh, I love the imagination behind the announcers. They are brilliant. It would take me forever to come up with the stuff they're doing. From there, we will move on to the actual discussion we've got. We read the first 5 issues of the 2008 volume of Guardians of the Galaxy. This was post an event called Annihilation, where I guess the character of Star-Lord, who's been around since the 70s, put together a first Guardians team since the version that came from the future. The original team is from the 31st century, an alternative universe 31st century. So this take of Guardians of the Galaxy would be the first modern one. And it involves a lot of characters people are used to. Drax the Destroyer, Gamora, Rocket Raccoon, Star-Lord, Groot. But it involves a couple of characters I'm sure a lot of non-deep fans are aware of, like Adam Warlock and the current the Quasar of the time, which was the daughter of the first Captain Marvel, Phyla Vell. Initial opinions?
I liked it, actually. At least...
I'm trying to compare it to what I read from the current series and whatnot. It seems like a little bit toned down from what I'm familiar with, I guess.
I don't know. This crew seemed a lot darker than the modern incarnation. I mean, towards the end of it, Drax was getting ready to kill an entire station full of people simply because he was tired of trying to figure out who was a Skrull.
Yeah. The story was interesting. I'm less certain I like some of the...
Characters or character designs?
I was going to say dialogue. And I wasn't crazy about the art and whatnot. It wasn't bad, but it didn't like...
Well, I will say a lot of the costume designs that they had for this series I liked on the page, but I could definitely not see this coming across well on a movie screen.
Oh, hell no.
Gamora's outfit is one of those things that's like the article you read about costumes that defies physics.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it properly. It's like a single suit piece that has no leggings to it, and it has a plunging neckline that goes down past her navel. It's one of those things where all it would take is one simple tug, and it's Dear Penthouse forums. But I do think Gamora has the same kind of commanding presence she had in this series as she had in priors. Although, compared to the current volume, it seems like this 2008 one was much more hardcore. She was much more of a brooder. Let alone that thing she did where she was nearly burned to a cinder just to try and save the rest of the team.
Right? That was insane.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it was kind of the only thing that could be done, but...
Yeah.
I kind of remind she's like almost like the Wolverine of the group.
Yeah. Well, healing factor.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Not as many beers either.
Apparently she gets around, though, so just like Wolverine.
Yeah. This first 5 issues, though, has an extremely dark version of Drax. I mean, I like the almost reality little clips where they're doing mission debriefings on video when they're talking to Mantis.
It took me a while to get used to that, but yeah.
Yeah. Drax at one point just is staring into the camera. He says, "I got nothing to say. We almost died. I saw a bright light. There was nobody I wanted to see in it."
Yeah. This Drax is clearly different than the one that I'm familiar with from the movie, and I assume, as I recall, the other comic as well, right?
Yeah, Drax is kind of a hard thing to explain simply. I had to read back on it because most I knew about Drax the Destroyer, he looked like the Hulk in a prior form with this kind of bizarre Flash Gordon-style costume. But the base version of it was that he and his family were traveling on some kind of highway, and he was... his entire family was plucked into the cosmic universe by, I think by Thanos, and he thought his wife and daughter were killed. He was definitely killed, but he was brought back to life by people who wanted Thanos dead, so he was given this one express purpose. He exists now to kill Thanos.
But he's like his... I just finally saw the movie the other day, and his whole mannerisms and stuff is different from the movie. He's clearly... Something's different.
Yeah, well, the same can be said for Gamora. You know, in this comic version, she's darker, but she's also much more passionate in this book. She comes across a little machine-like in the movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I did like some of the dialogue. Some of the one-liners were snappy, but I do see how it could be a little off-putting. I would say that to read the second volume of Guardians of the Galaxy, you had to read Annihilation going in, because that sets the stage as to why over half these characters are there.
Oh, yeah, like, the first issue is very confusing. I had to, like, mentally recap for myself what had just happened, so I could go on.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, they boarded the ship and they blew it up, and then there was this thing that happened, and then they put the thing in the thing.
Yeah, but the comic is helpful because it actually does bring a focus, like several characters I mentioned to you guys is very likely from the movie. You know, Cosmo and his unnatural hatred for Rocket Raccoon that's shared.
And we see Cosmo in the movie, right? Like,
yeah, he was there.
You see him twice.
I'll be honest, when you first described Cosmo to me, I honestly imagined him as something else entirely. I was thinking about, in my mind, I was thinking about that dog that the Inhumans have for some reason.
No, he's a dog that was augmented by some alien race, and he has a Boris Badenov accent when he speaks. That's about the best I can explain it. But Mantis was the thing that was hardest to explain to you. Now that you've seen her on the page, I think you understand what I mean when she says very annoying things like minutes before they happen. You know, sometimes her precognition is very direct and it happens days ahead of time. Other times it happens in the moment. It's like in her own log where she says in 24 hours, the team will agree on the name of the Guardians of the Galaxy. It would be an abuse of my precognition to tell them this.
yeah, I didn't really like her character.
She gets more interesting as she goes along. One of the things that's hard to explain initially is during the first 5 issues, the appearance of Vance Astrovik. The blue and white guy that was carrying Captain America's shield. He is from the 31st century Guardians of the Galaxy. The series that didn't last terribly long as far as I remember it. And the problem I have is that he's an alternate version of an existing Marvel character that I won't get into just because I don't want to bend your brains too many directions. Why he's back there, I don't think was ever really explained other than time and space breaking down to some degree. That was kind of a constant theme during this volume, was that time and space was slowly breaking simply because of all the superheroics and grand adventures going on, and reality just couldn't take the slamming it was getting during this time. But the reason why Vance Astrovik is in that bizarre suit is because he has been alive for over 200 years, and if that suit is cut open, he will start to age very rapidly.
Mm.
He has to stay in it to survive, and he is carrying what he considers a relic in Captain America's shield. I do like the art in it. It's kind of what I would consider not necessarily. It's kind of based on classic comic books from the Silver Age, but it has a more modern take on it. They're all very expressive, although sometimes their noses and teeth are a bit large. I'm trying to find the right descriptive words.
I can't say I noticed that in particular.
Oh, I'm not saying it was bad. It was just one of those things that occasionally, stuck out at me. By the 3rd issue, we have the addition of Starhawk, who's also one of the 31st century Guardians, but that character is so much harder to explain. Let alone why I think during the 5th issue he turned into a woman, I have no idea.
Skrull?
He's not a Skrull.
Yeah,
he was actually the real deal.
What
he was
are the
accused of it.
Skrulls exactly?
They're a shape-changing enemy. Usually that they're aliens who can change their shape at will. They can't usually adopt the powers. They've had some changes recently where, under certain circumstances and procedures, they can also adopt the powers of the people they change into. They were an empire. However, their planet, I think, was eaten by Galactus.
And now they're just trying to find a new place to live.
Yeah. Now there's certain segments that will work with humanity, trying to find a place to live on Earth. There are segments that work against humanity, trying to take it over. They're fractured, is the best way I can put it, and they're barely surviving. Mm-hmm. Hell, I think in the Avengers event that took them off world, I forget what it was called. I really forget. It was not that memorable of an event. The one where they picked up Ex Nihilo and Abyss.
Yeah, no, I can't recall the name of that event.
Yeah. Well, during that, they actually had some remnants of the Skrull Empire being led by the Super Skrull fighting with the Avengers.
No, some of them were even rescued by them.
Yeah. So, the Skrulls right now have developed into just kind of like any other race. Good ones, bad ones, ones you want to forget. But, you know what? I would honestly say that if someone has seen the Guardians movie, I would give them these 5 issues.
Yeah.
The character of Phyla Vel was a little more mysterious. She kind of played, I don't know about Goody Goody, but she was kind of the crusader of the group at this time. That's another character that's so complicated because she's the daughter of Captain Marvel. For a little while, she was Captain Marvel. Then they gave her Quasar's armbands.
Yeah, I didn't really understand her character. They don't really introduce her beyond what her powers are.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get across in words unless somebody's a long-term Marvel fan. She basically has the powers of several different cosmic Marvel characters jumbled together there. I did like the first enemy they came up with, the Church of Universal Truth. I was not familiar with them going in, but reading into them, they appear to be this monolithic and just difficult to deal with enemy.
Yeah, it's a flatterization of religion that I really don't like, which led me to believe I don't like these guys for many reasons. But
well, I mean, it's not a dig on all religion, just not even a lot of. I would say a more fundamentalist take on religions.
Yeah, well, this is my personal, gripe or position on it. I don't know. Take it for what you will. I'm not a very religious person.
Yeah, I have trouble with a lot of.
Yeah, a lot of times, when comic books began, people are looking for a couple specific enemies. At least they presented something I was unfamiliar with. Sometimes that's a detriment, but in this case, I think it actually helped. And then the 4th and 5th issue is when the series became relayed to the Secret Invasion, where the Skrull Empire tried to take over the Earth by... They had infiltrated just about every aspect of the Marvel Universe by then. A couple members were Avengers, a couple people were stuck on Nowhere, or a couple of Skrulls, I should say. Skrulls were just about everywhere in the Avengers. Oddly enough, none of them became X-Men, though.
It was nice to recognize Nowhere.
It's a very creepy place. The concept of it is just so bizarre.
Yeah.
I like it.
You're stuck in the head of a cosmic being, and in this case, it's voluntary. They set up didn't get to finish the story in the 5 issues, but during the issues 4 and 5, they set up a very interesting mystery as to who or what could be a Skrull. And they also set it up so that no one could get in or out for the time being, so they had to figure this out directly. Yeah. It's just amazing how to the point Drax is about it. He's just willing to annihilate everyone so he can answer the question of who's a Skrull.
Well, he's the kind of guy that doesn't beat around the bush, so give him a straight answer, or he's gonna punch you.
Yeah. So I like I said, not everyone in this team is lovable, but that's why I like the team. They're heavily flawed people. Half of them are former villains. Well, no, I guess only Gamora was a former villain. The rest of them are just rogues. They're so used to operating alone. I don't think they understand teams. Gamora only had a heroic turn as of the Annihilation event. But even Drax didn't trust everyone enough to let them in on his stash of weaponry that he had in there.
I'm pretty sure Rocket's going to be happy.
Oh, I'm sure. But I mean, I don't know how everyone's surprised that he has weapons. He's called Drax the Destroyer for a reason.
Yeah, but,
well, it's not like he hugs.
Well, you tell me Drax Destroyer, you say Drax Destroyer, I'm thinking this big green guy with red tattoos and a big-ass fucking axe. That's my image.
Okay, so it could be Scar from the Hulk series. Aha, I got you there. God, having that telepathic dog just tell you stay, though. Yeah,
I wish they would have done something with that character in the movie. I really did.
Yeah. It's just the 5 issues, like I said, even though you didn't finish the initial stories involving these characters, I actually did appreciate where it ended up in the books. It's the kind of endpoint where I'd almost wish I kept reading, frankly.
I almost did actually, just to know what was going to happen, but then I went to bed.
Yeah. It plays out a lot like the movie. These are 6-7 rogues who are trying to deal with the team, but at the same time still trying to operate independently. And they deal with cosmic level threats, but they don't deal with a lot of the IE planets or I'm out to destroy the universe type stuff. A lot of it has to do with just doing their best to help societies.
Yeah.
But I would hand this freely to a lot of people. It deals with a lot of concepts, including religion. Whether it's genetics or upbringing that makes someone a bad person.
Plus, it's in space.
That adds to it, yeah. You know, watching Adam Warlock, who's supposed to be the next evolution of man, take on the telepathic dog, that almost seems to have some Dogma-type activities there as well.
No pun intended?
No, I actually intended that very much.
Bad, Jeremy.
Woof. But, yeah, I would hand this over to a lot of people who are saying, I'm supposed to read comics, what should I read? This is a lot of different things all in one place. It doesn't have as much drama as the X-Men. It doesn't have the highfalutin history that the Avengers has. It doesn't have the overpowered characters the Justice League has. This would be a good place for someone who just says, I need a comic book. This is a good place to go.
There's a lot of attitude in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it has a little bit of everything. You know, cosmic-powered people, sword swingers, you know, psychotics, planners, anthropomorphized
raccoons,
raccoons, talking trees.
I like the line when Rocket was like,
Groot
damn
and the branches.
anthropomorphized animal. I like it. I liked that, rather.
Yeah, I still like the fact that, somebody asked Cosmo, what do you have against Rocket? I am not knowing. He just bothers me.
I think it's just natural instincts kicking in.
It is.
Yep.
And the worst part is they're so intelligent, they have no idea what exactly about the other is bothering them.
Mm-hmm. They've sublimated their instincts.
Yeah. But I even like the backgrounds in this book. When they're in the church ships, they look sweeping and grand colors, and all this energy seems to be flowing around. They're on Nowhere. It seems dingy. It actually looks like a place where you could, smell the odd fluid dripping from old connections. I just dug all the work. There's sometimes where backgrounds are seriously lacking in comic books. You read Bob Liefeld stuff. He barely ever put anything in the background of his books. In this case, everything seemed to have importance. Not a lot was left out. So I got to give Dan Abnett and his partner a lot of credit. I think it was Albert Lansing. I've heard they may actually be working together on another series soon. And their work on this series would be enough to make me follow them as a team. It's just so rare that teams are kept together in comic books these days. A lot of times it's individuals being pushed around. So, what do you guys think?
I wish I could have read it when I wasn't, dead tired, but...
I managed to get into a good headspace, and it was very enjoyable at that time.
Okay. Well, I was reading this, and as I was finishing up, I was kind of impressed. So I thought that maybe a good thing to do from here would be next week to read the Annihilation miniseries. It's only 6 issues.
Okay.
Kind of read the circumstances that put together the Guardians.
I can deal with that.
Okay. As well as you also get a view of a lot of stuff going on in there. Galactus, the Silver Surfer, Thanos. Richard Rider is Nova. I think that'd be a good thing to read. Anything else you guys need to bring up?
I don't think so.
No, decided to watch the Doctor Who premiere and saw that new intro that they use that you mentioned last week.
Yeah, I saw that myself. They definitely lifted. They didn't lift everything from that fan, but they lifted enough where you definitely saw where it came from.
100% of what that guy did is in there. They add a few more things to touch it up, I think.
Yeah, they definitely changed the text to something to their standard. They used most of it. They didn't use the swirling designs that he used at the beginning and end, but everything that guy had implemented at least was definitely in the opener.
Oh, I'm looking forward to watching it. I just got that on Amazon Prime, so...
It was okay. I wouldn't call it fantastic, but it was an okay start.
I can live with that.
Well, that's the only problem with these first episodes for new actors in the role of the Doctor. They have to spend the first episode really establishing who they are rather than turning in a stellar plot. And I could see that Peter Capaldi is not going to be a Doctor that runs so much. He's probably going to be one that kills.
Well, he can't really run as much, probably.
He can to some degree. The only thing I will say that's not really a spoiler is that early on they tried to have him act similar to David Tennant and Matt Smith with wild gestures, huge voices, and all that.
Didn't really work.
didn't really work well. Later in the episode, when he calmed down and the pace slowed down, he started to actually use his personal inflections and let that Scottish accent really take over the dialogue. He sounds threatening. Even the stuff that sounds friendly really makes it sound like he's half an instance away from shoving an ice pick between your eyes.
Interesting. Well, I'll have to see it.
Yeah. But, okay, so next week we will have the Annihilation mini ready to go. Thank you very much for tuning in. I want you all to have a great weekend, and I invite you to roll with us again next week. I am Jeremy.
I'm Jesse.
V.
Steve Nappy. Have a great one.